Okay, so with this is going to be a sequel to one of my other videos from before, and I do not care. I legit do not care because I already made a first recording, but I realized that there's a lot more information I want to bring up just to get my point across. And not only it's going to be like me, like it was me just repeating most of the basic stuff that was already explained, but maybe so I was repeating because I know full well there's going to be some dumb idiots in the comments that are going to just not listen to my point and trying to argue, oh, well, you didn't explain this part, even though I've already did. But fine, let's make the argument then. So this is a sequel to one of my videos before that, responding to Airrick Debunks. Because the thing too, I believe like this is another video he had at the time reviewing or critiquing Finding Sky. The thing is, yeah, let me just switch back. The thing is, it's about the fact of how he handled it, which I did not like. The problem was about that, where there's like a lot of points he could have brought up, but instead he kept proving a lot of the things that she was talking about correct, a lot of the points that she was making, and instead of him actually making valid arguments or understand what the actual critique is, he did not do a good job at doing so. Of course, he just kept ignoring a lot of basic things, and I would explain that like I've already explained most of the points in the original video alone. Of course, with this, it's not me attacking Airrick Debunks again. No, that's not it. This time it's me more focusing on critiquing Fanny Scott and what she was doing, where nowadays she's not even like hiding what she's doing. She is grifting, she is picking, of course. The things like she thinks that she's being in the middle ground or trying to call out both left and right. At times it's like okay, cool, not bad, but you keep listening to a lot of things that she's arguing about and you're looking at the resources that she does be using and so on and so forth. Yeah, she's not helping her own point at all. And I brought this up in my I believe I brought this up in my first video, and if I didn't or I forgot about this, so pretty much like some points that Eric did brought up was about the fact like that some of these people that she's used as an example are coming from the communities like biggest right wingers and stuff, where they're either making it up or just pushing it as a false narrative and stuff. And there's truth to it, but at the same time, not all the time. That's not the case. Like there's times that that is 100% accurate. But the problem is the fact that you have people in the LGBT community giving them the ammunition, and that is why these people like these things are existing. And I'll explain this one later on. So yes, this is a straight up sequel, of course. As an example, like I've already been a viewer of both of their channels. The things too is like yeah, I'm good criticize, and yeah, Jezebel's you're just being racist. Like there's no debate about that. That's just a fact. With Sky Sky, because like what I find ironic and very funny is with this. It's like she's trying to push this whole of nuanced approach of oh I'm not right leaning, I'm not left leaning, but at the same time too, she's way too much pandering, with like too much pandering for right wingers for no legit reason. And the thing is, like, you can have an actual middle ground, but only if you understand what you're arguing about. Because if you're pushing this fake middle ground approach, and it turns out you're not actually, MJ, then yeah, you're not helping your case. You're just giving people a reason why they should not be listening to you or trusting you. So like a lot of these videos, I would like agree with them, but this one video, I'm like, yeah, woman, what the frick are you talking about? Like, why are you lying? And then watching through the video, and ever since my first recording, the things like he literally is using sources from actual Nazis, and it's just straight up so embarrassing at the time. Just like, how on earth you are not looking at these people and be like, hey, maybe I should not be using these people as sources, but it's clearly obvious that they're doing this out of bad faith bias. And I just want to like bring like this part up as an example. Of course, you have dumb is like commonly, the Peyton guy, of course, the Asian guy who wants to be a freaking white dude. And of course, what he does, panders to actual white supremacists again, trying to be a pygmy, ignore the fact that yes, he's never going to be white. They're not going to accept him. And what's even more funnier is, of course, yes, he's boyfriends with Sean. BJ, like I said, with this example, this is important. I'm using this one tweet as an example. Like Chrissy, of course, if you look at the Blue Beetle no review video with her and her crew and stuff, yeah, they're not hiding the fact they're just being racist, but also projecting it as if it's like the movie itself being racist when in reality it legit isn't. And the thing too is no, the main reason why she made this is that no, she knows what she wants to say. The thing too is like you have people like Sean, out here also wants to say something completely racist because let's be honest, he is. And when you go to like the actual post alone and you go through the comments, they're not even hiding anything at all. They're not hiding their true intentions of what they're doing. They don't care. They do not bloody care. They do not bloody care. Seriously. Like they do not bloody care at all. Seriously. It's just so embarrassing. And they know what they're doing. Like there's no hiding it at all. Oh yeah, it's funny, but it's true. But it's like, no, it legit is. You guys are just racist. And of course, using any type of stuff to make all black people look bad and nothing else. That's all they got. Nothing else. But these are the same exact people like Sean or TYS, critical drinker, neurotic, so on and so forth. And yes, you'll be able, you'll be the same type of people that be using this whole of, oh, I'm not racist. I have black friends. I'm not racist. I like black characters. Oh, I'm not racist. I follow this black person as if like that makes it better. Okay, but it's like, no, it doesn't. It legit does not mean you're not racist. You're still are very racist. You're just using it as an excuse just to be like as a justification for your bigotry. It's not work. So when it comes down to it, it's like no. And wait till we get to like why I brought Comic Lee up as an example. And then we can continue over and over again. It's like, yeah. And of course, him and Neurotic, of course, be besties for no legit reason except for them being right wing grifters. And yeah, calling a woman old while you're over 30 years old, Sean. Please shut the F up. And another tweet of his where, yeah, somehow crying about the fact that, beef is for fat people. And somehow, Beowulf, it is like you are going to push this argument that he does not hate fat people for some reason, arguing that he does not hate fat people at all, or he's not fat phobic when he's 100% is. Seriously? Ignore the fact that chicken and turkey is not any better either. But at the same time, he's very inconsistent with his own argument, but he could be attacking people for eating chicken, but also make an excuse on why he's better. But yeah, when it comes to Jordan B. Peterson eating like red meat and stuff, he's not going to critique him, nor critique his daughter either. Because yes, they don't actually give an F at all. And of course, we got dumb is like Adam and Stitch, who's not even hiding the true intention that yeah, they know the type of content that they're making. It's not that surprising. You have another example of the two boyfriends, Common Lee and Sean, being a nice couple, of course, which is so ironic since both are freaking homophobic. And the things too I find even more funny, I need to stop switching my microphone mode. Screw it, I don't care. It's so funny that they're more focused on like what other people are doing in their own life when these people are mostly single and have nothing else better to do, of course. Seriously. It should be a crime. Like seriously, like him, like legit minding his own business, doing what he wants in his own life. And for number two, if their relationship does not end up well, then so be it. It's not your own business for crying aloud. Seriously. And if you realize that, hey, yeah, they are not working out together, then yes, they're going to divorce. That's their own choice because it's their own life. They're grown adults. Seriously. This has nothing to do with that. He doesn't need to be transgender or be part of the LGBT community, and so it do the same thing regardless. This is bound to happen with any relationship already. But no, these people are mostly mad solely because this person is part of the LGBT community and nothing else. That's the only thing why the crime complain about this and nothing else. It's not about what he actually is right or wrong. In another situation where, of course, the two boyfriends are obviously collabing with each other, which is not that surprising. It's just to be showing the fact they're not hiding the fact they're being bigoted. And it pushes the whole argument of, well, anything I don't like is Nazism, when that's not the point. It's about the fact that, yes, there's actual Nazi propaganda. But of course, people like Common Lee and Sean support the nonsense. Of course, it's not that surprising. It really is not that surprising. So, of course, they're going to be denying it. And that's very important example I'm going to bring up later on. And him not hiding the fact he is just pushing Nazi behavior, of course. Seriously. Like, literally, not even hiding any of his true intentions at all with what he's actually trying to do. Seriously. And it was so funny. Like, seriously. I like the whole, of course, no one wants to be a Nazi, but then, of course, making exes of why it's okay for being, like, no, stop. Stop. Like, seriously, stop. And so, when he jumped to this idea that, yeah, no one wants to be a Nazi, but this dude literally likes to be a Nazi for some reason. Seriously. Like, seriously, I love like this whole argument of we can recognize the Holocaust without pandering to Jewish. I'm gonna go call that word. I'm gonna use that. I think that's still a slur. But it's so funny he's saying this. Ignore the fact that once again, is to be respectful because you're gonna have like some Jewish people that are going to live in Korea or so on and so forth. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that for crying out loud. Seriously. But no, his problem is that he does not see these people as human beings, and that's the point. And point number two is literally we have posts like this. Of course, they're from the same circle. Of course, trying to push this idea that oh he called out Mike Keith when in reality he really didn't. When in reality he got so offended because Mike Keith made an actual joke about that he can't wait to kill Nazi in the freaking games. When yes, the enemies are actual Nazi, and yet he got so worked up because he felt called out when it's like yeah because high chance you actually are a Nazi yourself, and it's not surprising that yes you clearly might be. So it's so funny how like instead of them like reading the rude, they're not even hiding their true intentions with what they actually want to talk about and say. So when it comes down to this, it's very important of why I brought all this stuff up because wait till we get to like the actual videos. Also, there's going to be a lot of pauses. It's a long video. I don't care. So let's just begin this.
With conservatism traditionally holding an anti-gay position, being LGBT often made people defaulted to the Democratic Party. Over the last decade, it seems like LGBT members consider themselves conservative, having popular left and right.
Now, here's the thing I'm about to say.
Ultimately, who defaulted to the Democratic Party. Over the last decade, it seems like LGBT members consider.
Here's the problem though. With Blair White, as a viewer of Blair White and Eric Scarcella, I prefer their older content because nowadays they're forcing it way too much for no legit reason. I mean, they're really are forcing it way too much. When it's like it's not even helping their own pace, it's just making it a lot worse and worse. And the fact too, a lot of people that were calling them big mean grifters, so yada yada yada. I'm sorry, you have these two women over here, and they're proving their point that they're correct for crying out loud. Mind you, it's like any of the takes that Blair White said in past, whatever. You can argue that yes, she would be correct because she predicted most of these things happening today. Fine, but at the same time, too, is she even bothered on trying to help anyone in the LGBT community or help anyone at all? No, and that's the thing. Back then, fine, but nowadays, no, she's not even bothered on trying to help anyone. Is hey, how can I put people in the LGBT community down? How can I put a trans person or a gay person down? How can I put them down and throw them underneath the bus? But yet, don't try to offer any help towards them or try to like uplift your own community. And the same thing when it comes to Amir as well, where mind you, with Common Lee, as an example, Amir is literally the perfect pick me card that people on the right like to use. And yes, Babel, you like to use too. You've proven this multiple times already. Like these people will make clear no, they don't like black people, they don't like any of these people. And yes, those comments from before, these people will be arguing how, oh, I'm not racist, I'm not racist. I follow this guy, I follow Amir. Like that does not make me racist. When it's like, no, you're still a racist regardless. Probably you're gonna be like Amir or Brandon Tatum or Candace Owens or Amala Epinobi, whatever her name is. You're gonna have these people making excuses on how this type of behavior is completely justified and how it's completely is okay, or making any justifications of this type of behavior, never criticizing it, never calling it out, never saying, hey, yeah, this is disgusting, this is wrong, like what the F is wrong, guys. No, you see the young in defense for this type of behavior, and this is something I want to talk about in this video of why I did not like Sky's video. Like this is like one of the first times I'm actually disagreeing with almost every single thing that she's saying. But it's about why she's saying it and how she's saying it. That's the problem. We have some dumb people in the comments agreeing with her videos, but not for the right reason, and that's why I'm actually like upset with her because she could have just at least like actually have a real argument instead, or actually focus on real issues instead of pushing this whole fake nuanced approach, whatever, by pushing a whole type of nonsense by pandering towards people towards the right. Because if I ever do, like a lot of the people that are not agreeing and like her videos are not even left leaning people nor moderate. Most of these people are just right wingers, of course. A lot of these people which I pretend that they're moderate. In reality, you can look through the profile or look through like some type of videos that they watch or commenting and start seeing patterns that no, none of these people are actually moderate, especially start asking about their views and opinions on certain topics. They're not hiding their true intentions of what's actually going on, of course. And the things too is like it's showing the fact that no, they're willing to be kind and pretend to be things that they aren't, and that's a common thing with a lot of people. And this is something that people like even online was good for doing. I called him out earlier, of course. But the things to do is at least I would give him credit where it was due. He owned up to what he was doing. Like when I was debating him, at least I'm trying to pretend that he's a nuanced person, but openly admitted the fact that yes, he's trying to convert me to his politics or his side. At least he owned up to it in that debate. I would give him credit where it's due. But the things when it's comes to people like Sean, he's trying to place his fake idea that he's being nuanced or he's trying to have a non-biased opinion about something. You know, he's making out he does have a bias, but he's too ashamed to own up to it. And that's the point I want to bring up. You have a lot of these people who want to be racist, they want to be bigoted, so on and so forth. But yet when it comes to them owning up to it, they are too embarrassed to do it. When it comes to Rant for Vengeance, as an example, I can give Rant for Vengeance the credit where it's due. He's racist. He is a bigot. But the things he owns up to it. He doesn't try to go out his way to do mental gymnastics and try to justify what he's saying by saying, oh, that's not making me racist. No, he knows he's racist. He's not denying it. He doesn't try to argue with people, try to pretend that's not the case. When people call him out on this, he straight up admit, yes, he does not like black people. At least I can give him credit where it's due. He's not going to make any justifications that of, oh, hey, that does not make me a big, that does not make me racist. No, he owns up to it. But with the amount of people who are doing the same nonsense, they're too embarrassed to just own it. And that's the thing. That is like Conley, where he will make it clear, no, he is these things, but he does not want to own up to it. You got people like Amir, who knows what he's doing, but he's too embarrassed to own up to it. You got people like Sean, where he's not hiding it at all. He's making clear, say, with a translucent mask. You have him doing these things, but he's too embarrassed to own up to it. You have dumb idiots like a chill, dick sucking all of these people, and they cry complain when you call him out for being right winger or whatever, right? But yet he's too embarrassed to own it. And it's just so embarrassing. Like it's a common pattern with a lot of these people, of course, and they're not helping their own case by proving everyone's freaking point, and it's just so straight up embarrassing. And we have some dumb comments like this trying to push this argument that they're moderate. It's a big slide because I see like some people on the left try to make this whole claim to that they're moderate too, and it turns out they actually weren't at all. They're just lying. You have some people on the right that constantly do it, and they're just ruining the term for the sake of doing so because they don't actually care. You have dumb is using the whole, oh, I'm libertarian. When it's like, no, it's not. And the funny part too, this is why you have a lot of people on the left don't like moderates or libertarians because these idiots don't actually believe a single thing of what they're saying nor they actually mean. This is why they always argue how libertarians or moderates are secretly just right wingers. I'm like, for their explanation, it's for the wrong reason and did not explain correctly, but they aren't wrong really, and that's the thing I can give credit where it's due. Seriously. And this right here makes no sense. I'm a Democrat, but not because I'm bi. what the F does that even mean? Like, legit, what on earth does that even mean? The things like what I'm bringing up is people like Amir as an example is a great example because you have him, like, these people will be openly talking how they're against DEI this, DEI that, or diversity hires. We have people like Amir, who's literally is the definition of a diversity hire. Like, Nicholas Brett, who also is just a bigot, of course. The things too with her, he's using people like him against Owens, and as well using her own identity. You have Brett using her own identity when she is a diversity DEI hire for the Daily Wire. You may have her use that, oh, I'm a woman, so my opinion is valid about this certain situation, but at the same time, too, she'd be using her own identity to put down other women. Legit, taking like legit treating them as not human beings or trying to argue how they should not be treated as humans just because she's a woman, so it's okay for her to say it, so on and so forth. Or if it's a man saying these things, she would argue how, oh, I'm a woman and I agree with him. And say, of course you agree with him, not because you're what, because you're a pygmy. Like nothing else. You're not doing this out of good faith or you actually believe in what he's saying. You're just believing what he's saying because you're a pygmy girl and nothing else. It's the same thing when it comes to like her using Candace Owens as an example when it's for the same exact legit reason of, oh yeah, I'm racist, I'm bigoted, so on and so forth, for this exact reason too. Of, oh, see, that does not mean a bigot. Like I'm friends with Candace Owens, the black woman. It's like no, you're just using her as a DI hire. You're literally using her as DI hire to pretend that you're not bigoted when you are. It's no different when you use Amir of, oh, he's black and gay. So yeah, because he's your token diversity hire. That's what you use him as an excuse. We've seen Nazi nonsense about how black people so on so are not human beings, so on and so forth, and whatever, right? Y'all make it clear as no one say that this is how you truly feel about people, and you are not even doing a good job at hiding it at all to begin with. And like, there's like an example I want to bring up too. Like as an example from a comment I saw earlier, I had to like look it up 1 second. Like with this example over here, with Airrick Debunks video, I'm just calling Jezebel's out because the thing too is like when you actually listen to Jezebel's both reviews of Ironheart, she just not only just being like a pitney girl, being misogynistic, of course. No, she was just flat out being racist. First, it's the whole argument of how of the character needs to have flaws, whatever. So okay, that Riri has flaws. She's not perfect. She's been seen to be having a lot of flaws, right? And yes, she's supposed to have character development. She's supposed to make a lot of mistakes and stuff. That's fine. But yet, you have Jezebel's having a meltdown for no legit reason, and push this whole fake idea that the show's not condemning her for her actions. When yes, they literally do a lot since episode 1 to the 6th episode. Yes, she's been condemned for her actions. All her actions have been doing has consequences. The show has been saying this multiple times in every single episode, almost every single scene. They have non-stop been condemning her on her actions, telling her, hey, this is a bad idea, hey, this is bad, so on and so forth. And this ain't not even watch the show, this ain't actually look at the reviews who bring things up as well, providing evidence and stuff. And then, of course, you have dumb idiots like Jezebel's removing context to make Riri look way worse about the take about Tony Stark. When the first two, Riri was right, crying out loud. Tony Stark was not Tony Stark because the Iron Man, so whatever. That's not the point. He became Iron Man because yes, he had wealth. Seriously, him being rich is part of why, yes, he is Iron Man. Him being rich is why he is a well-known figure. That's important. Him being rich led to him being having the intelligence, not intelligence, the education that made him a freaking genius, which led him to becoming Iron Man. And yet they target him because yes, he's very wealthy and he's a very famous person who also built the weapons that sold to these people in the black market too. Yes, they're going to be giving him the same weapons from his own company. And guess what? That so-called pile of scraps. That's what was from his own company. So I mean, he had all the resources that they're just handing out to him. But Riri, she doesn't. She doesn't have a company. She doesn't have her own money, which is why she's struggling and actually leaves is trying to make money on the side to build her armor. Of course, are people acknowledge this? No. They're right to pretend of how, oh, hey, she's not being taken seriously. Oh, in front of you, they can't use the argument that she's married to. They legit can't, but they're trying to so hard to push this idea that she's married to, but they know they can't because yes, she can build her own things. She worked hard for it. There's evidence of her working hard to where she is. So they can't use the whole marriage argument because it's not going to work here. But yeah, some of them they're still going to make the argument, which makes no legit sense. And push this idea of, oh, she's a thief, ignorant of the fact that once again, it's her own suit. You freaking idiots. And two, she made it off of her own money, not from the imaging. And the fact two, you have a lot of these channels just making stuff up about what actually happened in the show, of course. But with Jezebel, like her overviews, all she has talked about is she just wants Riri to be shamed for no legit reason, just her existing. She wants Riri to be hated, wants Riri to be demeaned, and nothing else. It's not, oh, hey, hold her accountable for when she does something wrong. No, the show already does that multiple times. What she wants is Riri, you're a terrible person, you should kill yourself. That is what Jezebel was asking for. And she pretend of, oh, hey, she's not getting criticized in the show and say, yes, she was. It's just a terrible review. When all she was is she was to sit down and watch a show of a black woman getting shamed for no valid reason. And that's it. It's not how bad of a person she is. And she puts this idea that Riri is becoming a villain when that is not the case at all. But she puts this idea that she's a psychopath when that's not the case either. We can make excuse for John Walker, make excuse for Tony Stark, Star-Lord, Ant-Man, all of these people. So them being white, being a straight white guy, oh, okay. The things too, we have dumb is like this, or not hiding their true intentions. They try to pretend of like my before I even hit like the mind you, was a comment. This was a comment that I saw until I realized that it was this part right here. I already made a comment beforehand, just calling this stuff out because I've already predicted what he was trying to say, for crying aloud. Like this dude is making clear. I say yes, he's trying to push this whole fake nuanced approach that he's in the middle ground, but in reality, he's not in the middle ground at all in any sense of form. And then because you saw him legit push this excuse of why it's okay for right wingers doing what they did, and of course, this whole I primarily watched black critics for right leaning reviews. So you only listen to anyone that happens to be black, not to hear the actual genuine opinion, but only if they align with his politics that he wants them to have. So if a black person just saying, hey, I'm a black dude and I don't like black people, of course, he's only to be taken them seriously because they're giving him what they want to hear. That's it. This person like pushes fake idea of, oh yeah, they listen to both left and right, but no, that's not the case. That's not the case at all. And of course, you start seeing this, that yes, there are issues that yeah, they don't want any diversity either. They literally do not all. Seriously. And this person calling them out for what it is, because like, yeah, you're not slick. We also do it. And you have another comment here where they showing their true intentions. Like, what the F? Like seriously, like no, seriously, like what the F might do? You have people like this as an example. I'm like, is this someone from Airrick Debunks audience? No, this is someone that he's calling out. Seriously, why you? And what's worse, hey Wolf, if you're watching this and you and your friend, that's what you're gonna be making some dumb excuse on how this is okay. For some reason, I already know this because you made plenty of comments trying to justify this type of behavior. Seriously, and it's so funny how like, but it's clear, obvious that no, she's not expressing her opinions. She's just lying and just being racist, nothing else. You know, you have all these people making any excuse on why it's okay for her to act that way. So back to my point is, yes, you can have people acting this way and say these things, and then we use Amir as an excuse of, see, I'm not racist. I like Amir. We're just like, no, you're only liking him because you get to use as an excuse to justify your own bigotry, not because you actually respect him or like him, but so because he says things that aligns with what you want to hear and nothing else. And you know it too, which is why, of course, you keep falling back to him as if he's going to cover you or he's going to save your day. You know, there's time he does that.
Conservative have been popular on the left and right, and it takes a lot of backlash for doing so. Terms like traitor, friendly fire, and my personal favorite, pick me, are common insults thrown around by those who go against the status quo. I really saw the Matt Bernstein counterpoints about LGBT conservatives and gave me some insight into how people on the left use the people on the right, and I wanted
Now here's the thing I would say.
to comment on some of the things they said.
Now here's the thing. Now here's what I would say. Yes, do those things happen? Yes. But a lot of times it's obviously just like, oh hey, you just have a different politics than me. Fine. Or just one little different opinion than mine. Fine. Problem though is most of the not most of the times nowadays recently like the last 3 years from what I see, yeah, they're right. A lot of these people are being pick me, they're grifting, so on and so forth, they're sellout, they're self-hating. Yeah, they're correct about this stuff. It was a few years ago, that was not the case. But nowadays, 100%, no, they're 100% right. And that's because of like, oh, they're left leaning, so no, that has nothing to do with it. It's why you have people like Blair White and Eric Scarcella or Amir. All of these people are literally proving their point. And that's it. Once again, Blair White in the past, fine, I would defend it, whatever. But nowadays with Blair White today, even when I asked one of my friends who happened to be bi, when I was asking them as an example, like, if there was a big change with Blair White today in her past videos, and yes, we both agree that yes, there was a massive, massive shift. And that's not because of like, oh hey, she had a different thing over time. No, it's just the fact that nowadays she's going way too hard for no legit reason, knowing the full well that these people are not accepting her, no actually believe or agree with her. It reminds me of that one video that she was on with some right wingers, and yeah, this one was just being straight up transphobic towards her and stuff. And yes, you have a lot of people, left leaning who are being bad faith and not actually make a valid point. Excuse me. Not make a fair point where, of course, they're just used as a way to see, like, see, these people don't actually accept you, Blair, so why are you pandering towards them? It's like, yeah, of course you make an argument that yes, it's unfair and it's like not in good faith for them to do it that way. 100% yes, and that's how I feel. But at the same time too, there's truth to it because yes, there's one person that's literally showing you exactly how to truly feel, and you're not saying anything against them. You're not debunking them. You're not actually calling them out. Whatever. You're just letting them say these things towards you, and you're going to make an excuse on how that behavior is okay. You're not going to call it out. You're not going to say anything against it. You're going to just let it pass. Yeah, no, you're going to get criticized for that, and rightfully so. And that's something that deserves to get talked about because you're not holding your own case. You make your own argument look way worse over time.
LGBT conservatives gave me some insight into how people on the left use the people on the right, and I wanted to comment on some of the things they said.
Yes, queer people should be allowed to be conservative, and I'm not going to strip them of that, but also I'm still going to unfortunately think less of them.
Right, here's the thing. I don't like the guy at all. I never once liked to do at all. And that's just a solid fact. I never once liked this guy from the very beginning. So I'm not going into this as if I'm a fan of his. Like, there's comments I've made before where I disagree with him, and the purpose I really even watch any of his videos, of course. My issue is that he does not actually believe that there's other people that can be conservative. He does not believe that. That's just a flat lie.
Take their self-hate and then use that to hate other people and use that to bolster politics. It's going to hurt others. At a certain point,
The things like she is wrong, in front of with counterpoints, I'd rather for her take her seriously than the majority of a lot of other left-leaning people. I'm sorry, the amount of leftist people I've seen online, yeah, they all trash. But counterpoint is like the one where I can at least understand where she's coming from and take her seriously. On the topics like she knows, hey, I'm not gonna cross this line because yes, I can sound stupid, so I can stay in my territory where I'm like in the field and stuff. That I can at least give her where it's due.
self-hate has become other hate. You're passing it on. You're sort of projecting it outward. If there were straight people,
And here's the thing, she's right about that.
at a certain point, self-hate has become other hate. You're passing it on. You're sort of projecting it outward. If there were straight people running around naked with each other in the street, people would have a problem with that too. So it's not.
Yet they don't, and that's the problem. Once again, you have some conventions where it's like you have OnlyFans girls and stuff. Usually, they're just wearing lingerie there, and yet most of the people that be complaining about this stuff, and what's funny is a lot of other people that are supporting these things are mostly incels. You have half the incels just bashing the women as an excuse because they can't sexually assault them, so that's why they're bashing them for doing what they're doing. You have the other half of them they are literally advocating for this behavior because they get to goon to it later on. Seriously, like nothing else. Like literally, that does have a lot. But the fun part too is that you would have like money, and this was an actual thing in one of the conventions where it was a guy and that was legit on all fours wearing BDSM like dog and stuff, and had his girlfriend having him on a leash, walking around the convention and stuff. And yet, mind you, there was actual children there. What the f? Like, legit, and mind you, this convention had rules saying, hey, you're not allowed to be dressed in this way. If you can't wear it out, then don't wear it at all and stuff. And yet, these people came to the convention like this for no legit reason. And you have some parts of different conventions where they would have a lot of 18 plus or not safe for work art, especially not safe for work art for Lolicon. If you want to know about that, that's just cartoon CP. And they have it out in public. I don't care if it's like, oh, you censored the nipple. No, it's not that. You're still showing that and having like hell cases about that. And then they want to know why a lot of anime fans or conventions are being seen as degeneracy places. And it's like, I would not deny that. Because yes, it is. Let's be honest, you have a lot of these people who are out here selling these things, and then the host or the people of the conventions who are sending things out are not gonna check this saying, hey, yeah, you can't be having this around. Because what's worse, it's not like it's at a private event where only 18 plus. No, everyone, like you can bring a whole family and stuff. And yet, they have this out in the open. I don't hear people in the comments of, well, actually, there's a section, for 18 plus. That does not make it any better when you have kids that can go past the 18 plus and still see those things there. And like, these things are out in the open that everyone can buy and see. And that's the problem, though. We don't know anything about this stuff. Seriously. And then there was like this one girl back at band in New York on convention where, yeah, she had to sign about stepping on people and stuff for like a few dollars or whatever. She got banned for that. But yeah, she was still able to go to conventions for some reason. And what's funny, there was like a whole entire video where she's dressed as Wolverine, a sexualized version of Wolverine, as if she came out from a porn shoot for crying out loud. And she knows what she was doing. There's no excuse. She thirsts a lot, and that's just a fact. The thing too I find so funny is like there's like a video. Of course, this guy was just creepy. That's just there's no excuse for it. But the things too is how yes, is she allowed to be uncomfortable? 100%. But at the same time too, it is not just her for how she's dressing at that convention, and yet get so worked up when she's getting the attention that she was asking for. She's first because yes, she is literally attracting this type of attention. She knows it too. You can argue, oh, she was doing that online. Okay, then bet. Keep that nonsense at home. Why are you bringing it in public? And be so surprised you have 30 men trying to like talk to you. Does that mean that oh hey she should, like she deserved it? No, 100% no. And that's not the argument. The argument is what did you expect really, and that's it. Seriously, that's like legit a deer painting a target on them and then going to a shooting range and it completely be so surprised that they got shot. Does that make it okay or justify what happened? No. The point is, what did you expect was going to happen? That's why I told you, don't do stuff like this and condemn both actions. Seriously, it's a double-edged sword regardless of how you feel or not. And the thing too is, why my point is that she's in the comments crying how, oh, I'm such a victim. It's like, what? You weren't. Like, sure, like, yes, you were a victim because you were uncomfortable, but at the same time too, you knew what you were doing. Like, does that mean that you just like it's justified? No, but you know you're like, let's not deny it, let's not pretend we're crying out loud. Now, the thing as well is that this stuff happens way too often. But mind you, when it comes to like straight couples doing half the stuff, 100%, it's not get any recognition or get called up for the same reason. When it comes to gay people, no, they get ridiculed for no legit reason. When it comes to Think Firstly, his whole entire video that he made was literally just arguing that all LGBT people are just pedophiles just because of their existence. That is it. And nothing else. It's not about the actual actions itself. It's just because they're pedophiles, just because he says so. And of course, this is the same exact guy downplaying what Dr. Disrespect did. But yeah, when it comes to Chris Tyson, even though what Chris did happened before, he became transgender. When it comes to Chris Tyson, mind you, this happened way before he was transgender, while he was married or while he was straight, whatever, right? All this. And people like him had nothing to say about that. You have people like a Cheeto, Sense of Society. None of these people had anything to say with it. But yet, the moment when Chris became transgender, then these people are already making claims that he's a pedophile or he's a groomer or he's creepy, whatever. Not because of his actions, so because he's part of the LGBT community, and that's it. And that's their only argument. You have people like a Cheeto or Sense of Society will be out here not saying that part out loud, but they are telling their own viewers that that is the argument that they're trying to make. But yet, you have people like Sean, but no, he was saying the most blatant things obvious, and then try to pretend, oh, I didn't say that, I did not say that. Trust me, bro. No, we know what you're saying. You're not actually like, no, you're dog whistling for crying out loud. You're literally using code as an excuse for why, like, no, you're not hiding your true intentions. And of course, he's the same that dude downplaying what Dr. Disrespect did. Yes, it's a straight white guy. And the two, this is no different when it comes to Brett Cooper, of course, and puts the argument of, oh, there's more evidence against Chris Tyson, ignoring the fact that most of these so-called evidence happened before Chris became transgender. So these are so-called more evidence than, once again, why didn't you say a simple thing before Chris became transgender? Oh, wait, you did because it didn't fit a certain narrative. It was funny. She was a Mr. Beast laser until Chris Tyson becomes transgender, and now she's attacking Mr. Beast for it. Seriously. So you want to know how, yes, these people don't actually give enough about what to talk about, and yes, they're picking and choosing what's okay and what is okay, not because they actually care about it, so because it fits a certain narrative and nothing else. And the thing too is like with a lot of these people, they know what they're doing, but they have no shame because they're too embarrassed to own up to it. But they have no shame of constantly doing it. That's actually guys the tweets from before as an example of the common behavior that these people are guilty for doing so because they like there's no excuse denying it. So we have dumb idiots like legit who are pygmies and stuff make excuses for this behavior. Of course, that's bound to happen.
Passing it on here to projecting outwards. If there were straight people running around naked, but each other in the street, people would have a problem with that too. So it's not fair to
And yet they don't.
say that it's just projecting homophobia that people are condemning inside of people.
No, a lot of it is projectional homophobia, nothing else. We're not actually calling these people out for actual valid reason. Mike, this is what I have brought up in the original video alone, that yes, there are some people who are in the community that actually do deserve to get called on because these people are actually guilty for doing so, and they be posted on Twitter or on the hub or anything else, or just post it online for free and letting people know that yeah, they did it on like in public and stuff. Like let's not pretend it doesn't happen. This is one of my points I was arguing with some people on the left and people like Airrick Debunks about the fact that there's actually in their own communities that are guilty for doing these things. And yet, if you go be out here justifying it or pretend that it never happened, whatever, then no, you have no right to talk about anything basically because you're giving people a reason on why they should not be listening to you, of course, and still hold that exact view because yes, these people should be held accountable regardless of who they are. And so what they're doing is wrong. The problem though is yes, it's not even just because they're gay, it's because the fact that they are actually degenerative people that are seeing the LGBT community and these praise as a justification to act this stuff out. And that's the problem. And nothing else. No, seriously, that is a problem. And this is why I'm trying to say if you call this behavior out, you want to get called like hated that much. But of course, they don't listen to this and they want to know why they get a lot of hate. It's not just that alone. You have people on the right that are going out of the way and actively looking for this type of content or looking for this type of stuff so that they can push it to their audience. So even if there's going to be an event like a LGBT parade that doesn't have any of this stuff, no one is doing it. The problem though is that you don't have these like these right wingers that are actively looking in for this type of stuff and trying to hunt it down, and that's it. Like you have like people like Airrick as an example, where she's going to be doing the same exact nonsense, but yet, or like Misha Petrov, she's going to be doing the same exact nonsense of looking for this type of stuff, but yet if they're at some type of anime convention, whatever it is, they're not going to that of hey, these people are posting like nonsense work hard that are very degenerative. They're not going to look for that. They're not going to call it out for some reason. But yet, a gay person just doing something. Oh no, that's degenerative. We need to call it out. We need to be so upset about this. And it just shows that they don't actually give it an alphabet because they support it. Sometimes they do. A lot of times is that they don't actually give an alphabet. It's just so disturbing. It's just completely disappointing because they could be an actual valid argument. The problem is a lot of people don't actually give it an F, and they're just doing it because it fits sort of politics.
Going to call out inappropriate behavior, gay or not. The members of our own community are saying that kids and teens.
And now, before we continue, I need to bring this up. This is the worst example, and this is something that proves my exact bloody point. And this is where the video is going to be even longer than before. If you don't know this guy is an actual Nazi. Legit, white supremacist, Nazi, whatever, vegan. It doesn't mean it doesn't change anything because no, he's literally all these things. And yes, he's fat too, which is very ironic. And yeah, the fact that you're using this guy as your source. And not seeing the fact that mind you, this is what I was talking before. You have people who are on the right who are actively looking for these type of things so they can post online to push more outrage, sex and stuff. And she does acknowledge that yes, she's using someone who's on the right who's actively is doing this on purpose for their own bigotry. And she's using this as a source to prove a point when it's not actually prove her point. It's actually proving people on the left's point. So now Airrick Debunks is calling her a pick me or whatever. I'm sorry, I would have to agree with him because yes, guy, what the F? That's only just trying to argue of how you're not a Nazi and you're actually citing Hitler as your source to argue that you're supportive of Jewish people. You see how stupid you sound? You see how dumb you sound for crying out loud? So you are literally using an actual flat out Nazi as your source. I'm not even making you're literally using a literal Nazi. I mean, this guy openly makes it known that yes, the only form of racism, it only happens when it's towards a white person. But actual racism and stuff, when it happens to non-white people, no, he will be making any justifications and excuse on why it's okay. And nothing else. Let's just continue.
When Chick-fil-A drive-thru order lists his name as monkeys.
What could have happened here? This one seems like it's racist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was no reason for it to happen. Mind you, was this racist? Hint, no. So mind you, when there's actual forms of racism that does exist, these people instantly will make any defensive justification, excuses, or denial instead of owning up to the fact that yes, it is racist or it's wrong. Why? Because these people are racist themselves. They support racism. They advocate for that nonsense. But we're too chicken to own up to it, and that's the difference.
Let's play.
What was the name that you gave him?
I told him Marquise. That's not even close to Marquise.
No, sir, it's not. And I'm gonna go ahead and have a talk with him right now.
Instead of his name, Marquise Vanzego found the word monkeys.
As a black male, we've gone through a lot. Just when you think you're healing from a situation, someone opens that wound back up.
The underage staffer who entered the slur reportedly claims he misheard the name.
I'm sorry, there's no way you misheard a name. There's no way you misheard the bloody name. Marquise Monkeys. Nowhere close. Nowhere bloody close. For crying out loud, you heard that there's an R, Mar. I don't know if you got mung. On earth, you got M-O-N. When it's M-A-R. No. There's no. I don't give an F. They do know what the problem is. You have these two white supremacists literally who go out of the way making any justifications about this stuff, not pointing at the fact that yes, it's wrong or not. They're arguing how this is completely justified, how it's okay, and trying to argue, what did this happen? What did this happen? Whatever. They're making any excuse. But mind, if this was like a different situation against them, and you have, and mind, you never continue to do the same thing. But mind, if it was like someone on the left who's doing something in the wrong, and they try to do the same behavior, these people would not let it go.
Marquise, monkeys. It's not close at all, he says.
Yeah, it's not. It legit isn't.
And then you're talking through a drive-through speaker. So who's the order for? Marquise.
Mind you see how like, they're jumping to making any conclusion, any excuses to justify this nonsense when it's still wrong regardless, no matter how you feel.
And it's like, you didn't even know he was...
Yeah, Marquise. Not monkeys. Like, you can still hear a massive difference. And of course, it's coming from another right-wing account.
Maybe black, too. And then...
That does not make it better. For crying out loud, I love the whole it's not racist because it's a black person. But it's like, that doesn't make it any better. This is why I brought up the whole Amir argument earlier. Is yes, they've been using him as an excuse to be racist towards black people. Like, these people saying any racist stuff towards black people, and they're trying to use Brandon Tatum or Candace Owens as a justification for them to be anti-black. Why? Because these people are guilty for being anti-black, and that's it. So of course, if it's a black person being racist towards other black people, these idiots will make any justification of why that's different and how that's okay and nothing else. Not because they actually see it as a human being or respect them, so because they're giving him what they want to hear.
You hear Marquise, and you kind of like, I don't know what that was, monkeys, and you write it down. And then when he goes and confronts the people, all the workers there are black.
That doesn't make it any better. It still will be racist regardless. And that's it. This is what I said. That you people are blatantly racist AF. And you guys will use Amir or Candace Owens or Brandon Tatum as a justification for what you're doing. So it doesn't matter whether they're black or not. It will still be racist regardless. It was unnecessary. There was no point for it. This is not like a Starbucks, like at Starbucks, where, you know, they accidentally got your name wrong. It's not like that at all. It really isn't like that to begin with. Oh, seriously, you guys are workers, you know, getting names wrong, fine. But they would never get name wrong that rally. They were not going to go that far. But it's so funny. They're literally jumping for any conclusion on why this behavior is completely justified.
It's not like a Ku Klux Klan den waiting to get one black guy who ordered like a 3-piece strips meal with 4 Chick-fil-A sauces to just really twist the knife on him and ruin his day, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Because, yeah, well, you need to find any justifications. And let's continue. And when it comes to this situation, it's a good thing I actually got the video alone, where the farmer too, she's actually making a whole entire video acknowledging the racism and pointing out the racism against Indian people or Middle Easterns and stuff. She's pointing this stuff out, pointing out for what it is. So, yeah, there's square times I'm going to be like pausing the video and using most of the video. I do encourage you to watch the original video itself. I could be using the whole video to prove a point. So it's like these people are not hiding their true intention. That they're just being
has received Indian racism online. If her parents didn't immigrate here, she'd be sleeping in cow shed with no rights. The irony. Hi, Mom. I got a racist comment. Do you want to hear it?
What is it?
If her parents did not immigrate here, she would be sleeping in cow shed with no rights. The irony.
Oh, okay.
Is that true?
What does that mean?
They're saying if I was still in India with you, we would be sleeping with cows and shit. But you didn't have cows in your house, right?
We did have cows in our house. So big deal.
I have to go.
Yeah.
We did have cows in the house. And is it racist, or is it just a harsh truth that you don't really...
Yeah, sure, let's just argue that it's a harsh truth. I wonder why he's making this type of argument that it's a harsh truth. Only because, yes, he is racist.
like to acknowledge, and you like to live in fairy tale pretend land?
There is a fine line.
No, it's about the fact it still will be a racist stereotype. It does not matter whether it's true or not. It still will be a racist stereotype. And most of the times, it's not even true.
If you're exactly right, you're no longer racist, I think.
Of course, you would think that for legit reasons, that because you are racist. So, of course, it would push any racist stereotype and assume that it's true. And yet, just because he has this type of belief, so even if he's wrong, it does not matter. He will still be right regardless, because he is still going to have this type of view regardless. Whether it's true or not, he still have this type of view regardless. It doesn't matter at all.
Or that you're close. Oh, you guys play around in the shit. It's like, that's only some religious ceremonies.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys shit outside. That's only half of us.
51% that actually is the majority that would win the popular vote.
Like,
Someone has white.
these are literally the people that, yes, Scott, you're literally are using as a source. Seriously. And they're all making any just like it's so funny you're using this clip, seriously, from a show that's obviously going to be pretty woke. Of course, they're trying to push this idea that, oh, yeah, it's true because, you know, your people are like this stuff. Seriously. And wait until we get to another comment against Asian people, and of course, it's not that good either. And then we actually have like one of the actual videos alone that actually they found earlier. This is it.
Where's the shoulder? If it's down 8 miles an hour, 90. There's an alternate box too.
Yeah, I didn't face front, you just turn forward. You see a truck in the rear view coming towards you, and it's not slowing down earlier.
Yeah, so I don't know, it's just that story. This is the dangerous training right now.
Listen, wait. Yeah, I think when we go.
If you have 4 names, basically not like the sort of royalty from like Brussels.
Yeah, exactly. All right, the next clip is an interesting clip. It's proof of racism almost.
No, it's not proof of racism almost. At all. That is not even the name of it. In any sense of form. Remember, too, the actual clip is literally just saying reading racist comments. So, of course, let's just make up a whole false claim.
Someone has white passing India has received Indian racism online. Okay, Kumar. If her parents didn't immigrate here, she's sleeping in cow shed with no rights. The irony. Hi, Mom. I got it. I got it.
And before anyone say this whole, oh, I removed the context, no, these are the screenshots, no, the timestamps right here. And yes, I went from his Twitter account, his Insta account, and went to the actual YouTube video to prove that no, I'm not removing any context. They actually are having this type of argument.
A racist comment. Do you hear it? If her parents did not immigrate here, she would be sleeping in cow shed with no rights. The irony. In cow shed with no rights. The irony.
Oh,
Is that true?
what does that mean?
They're saying if I was still in India with you, we'd be sleeping with cows and shit. But you didn't have cows in your house, right?
We did have cows. So
Once again, that's the argument. They didn't have cows at home, but then they slept in, you know, fecal matter, basically.
I have to go.
We did have cows in the house. So big deal. That's not a no episode. Is it racist, or is it just a harsh truth that you don't really like to acknowledge, you live in fairy tale pretend land?
Yeah, there's a line like, yeah, it's racist, but it was correct, so now they're
That does not mean it's right. Nor it actually means it's correct either way. That still would be racist. And it's wrong. That's the point. But mind you, if you bring any of this point about white people being shooters and stuff, whatever, or so on and so forth, these people will lose their minds. Not because of what, sure now, they will lose their mind because they have to acknowledge the fact that, yes, white people are not perfect people either. Yes, there's a lot of bad white people that exist, and these people are no better.
racism is reversed, it was just like getting a guess time, right? So,
No, it's not making an educated guess. You're just being racist.
the person like this, it's not racist, actually racist Brandon's profile. He was
No, it was still racist regardless.
racist as well.
Yeah, you can do this to any group. You know, oh, Asian people, you keep it. And
Hey, yeah, if you bring this up to white people, then these two idiots, these two Nazis, would see that as a threat or as a, oh, I'm such a victim. Oh my gosh, you're racist towards white people. It's like, that's not the case. You guys want to act this way. Yes, don't be surprised when this happens to you to prove a point. You only see racism only when it happens towards him. This is no different. You have Think Firstly, who's literally is a straight racist himself, or only sees racism being bad only when it happens towards white people, of course.
Oh, that's it. You did a big job. So there is a fine line, you're definitely right, you're no longer racist, I think. Yeah, so,
you know, you're close. Oh, you guys play around shit. It's like, that's only some religious ceremonies. Oh, you guys shut up. That's only half of us.
okay, that's the majority. 51% actually is the majority that went popular vote, so we're right. Yeah.
No, it does not make you right. It still shows white guys are still being racist. And mind you, I'm not removing context. This is the full
All right, last
context.
section is some teenage.
So yes, they literally skipped to a whole different section. And we're not done with that. We're not even done with that. Let's go with another post. This one right here, literally, just what the bloody F. Just not even, like, these are the same type of mother lovers that are crying about the whole Assassin's Creed stuff of respect to Asian culture, whatever. Like, they're not hiding their true intentions.
Always prioritized pets over black people, as policy, as culture, as strategy. You ever seen a white woman weep for a rescue dog, but not blink at a black child shot in the back? That's not a quirk. That's colonial memory at work. That's whiteness distributing empathy based on control. But black people were never allowed to be innocent.
And of course, instead of them actually coming into it in good faith and actually talk about what she's actually arguing about, instead, they're rather be in denial and making any excuse. And this is my point. When it's racist towards Asian, black, and whatever, anything that's not white, it's totally okay. These idiots will make any excuse and justification in that state. But the moment when it's like holding white supremacy accountable for what it is, not being racist towards white people, just holding it accountable. Just holding racist white people accountable for what their bigotry. So these people get so offended and so worked up that they're out here like, oh my gosh, how dare you say something like this? Like, oh my gosh, you're being woke.
It doesn't even make any sense. Like, what do we have to care about anyone else for?
The point is about the fact that you guys treat animals way more human than actual human beings. So because they're not white, that is the argument. You treat black people as if they're not human. You treat Asian people as if they're not human. You treat Latinos as if they're not human. You treat anything that's not a white person as if they're not human. Heck, you don't even treat white women anything. Well, obviously you treat the least worse to everyone else. But you don't treat white women as any better either. You still treat white women terribly as well. And affirmative, it's so funny that they're so much in denial and trying to find any way to like just reject the idea when these people are actually guilty for having this point of view themselves. Because they know what they're doing. There's no excuse.
Imagine like a German Shepherd you've had for 9 years. It's 9 years old. It's gone through some of those pivotal life moments with you. When I got into law school, I bought my first car.
I'm not removing context. I'm not cutting. This is from their own exact Instagram account. That's not me removing any context.
And then I started dating Jenny, and he shares your life, and you're walking him, and then there's some homeless black guy on the street. You go, oh my, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Obviously, the dog means more than any random dumb person on the side.
And
That's not the point at all. And you see how like he's trying to skirt around the point that she's trying to make? Like, this is from their own edited version of it. This is not like my version. No, this is from their own edited version of like what they're talking about, what was going on. I'm not removing any context or anything like that. That's not what happened. In ancient point, even if I look into the context, it does not make anything any better nor fix the situation. It actually makes a lot worse to prove my point that yes, they know what they're doing is just being racist and justify their own bigotry and nothing else.
It's actually ironic because we found out some more info about her and her background, and wait till you hear it.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You guys tried to stalk her for no legit reason. When in front of you, she called you guys out for nonsense that you guys are guilty for doing. And in front of you, if this is the other way around, these people cry about how it's cancel culture or people are trying to cancel them, whatever. When really, they're the ones who are
What's
doing so.
insane is that a white family adopted this woman from a Chinese orphanage when she was a baby after she was abandoned by her birth parents, and now she claims to be a victim of human trafficking and spends all day making the most insufferable anti-white TikToks.
Yeah, just because you're adopted does not mean you were not human trafficked. You don't know how she was adopted or whatever. You can still be human trafficked, even from your own biological parents. That can still happen. So you're not actually doing anything. That's not a oh hey she's being absurd or whatever. No, she can still make a point that yes, she was trafficked as a child. That is a common thing, regardless of what race you are. The fact that you guys are so much in denial that you guys can't own up to the fact that yes, there's bad people that exist. Oh no, you guys only see bad people only when they're not white people for some reason. Of course you would. Of course it's from another white supremacist account, which is not that surprising. And it's so funny how trying to make this argument that this person is being anti-white when that's not the case. When they're just saying hey, yeah, white supremacy is bad, nothing else. They're literally just calling out the actual bigotry itself being bad. Of course, and I'm talking about the actual bit, not talking about anything else. Just the video alone specifically. And yet they can't find a single argument against her. So they're trying to find any way to defame, not only to defame her, but demean her instead of actually making a valid argument. Like you have this woman saying that hey, racism is bad. You have these two idiots trying to make any excuse on how racism is good and try to attack her personally instead of actually making a valid argument against her. Or she should say hey, you're sexually assaulting a child is wrong regardless how you feel, regardless of your politics, it's wrong, and we should agree to that. You have these idiots who try to argue but actually, or trying to make any justification for what's going on or whatever. Like instead of them actually like arguing intelligently or I don't know, acknowledging that yes, it's wrong, they're willing to go find any justification or reach grasp with straws instead of actually owning up to the fact that they're wrong about this stuff. So it's so funny how they're ignoring exactly what she was talking about and trying to demean her because they have nothing against her. Because yes, she's correct about what she was talking about, and they fell out on this stuff because yes, they're guilty for having this type of opinion and what they're guilty for doing.
Known to men. The funny part about a woman like this, she's comparing pets to black people.
No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't. She, like, the only form of comparison she was making was make a freaking example to talk about how the fact this is how you idiots this at. She's not trying to say that black people and pets are the same or be like that. She's arguing how you idiots treat black people worse than actual animals. You treat Asian people worse than actual animals. You treat black people, Asian people, anyone that's not a white person, you treat them way worse than actual animals, and you treat animals way more important and way more human than actual human beings. You have, cat moms or dog moms, whatever it is, right? They exist fine, but they never go out of the way because of bigotry. Of, oh yeah, I'm doing this because I'm homophobic or I'm doing this because of racism. No, they exist because guess what? Asians love the animals way more. There's people who are more of an animal person than a human person. As long as they're not doing bestiality, it should be fine. I prefer that except for them going to bestiality because you have some of those people that really need to get locked up and should be, in the chair because they're disgusting. The thing is, it's about the fact that it's not about the fact that you guys are animal people. No, you treat them way more human than actual human beings. So because that those humans do not have the same skin color as you, and that's the problem. That is what she's talking about. That's not her actually make a comparison as it is the same thing. That's you out here projecting what you're guilty for doing. Someone said she's calling you guys out for your own bigotry, and that's it. And what's so funny? You're projecting what you actually view it. So yes, you felt called out on, and that's the thing. She exposed you guys for how you guys treat people, so because they're not white like you. And what's funny, instead of you owning up to, or I don't make an actual argument, she's trying to make an excuse. What's so funny? Is you're projecting that yes, she's correct. You're literally proving her point of what you're doing. Like projecting, oh, I'm not racist. You are. It's no different. We have the critical drinker referring AIDS to black people for crying aloud. Which you have to do, literally referring to black people to King Kong, without referring King Kong to actual black people going through slavery. You have him straight up saying that out loud, and yet you bring this stuff up, and yet you have his dig writers or Sean's audience or people like Sean making any excuse or deny that it doesn't happen. They're trying to argue how it's not racist because they said so, but no, it was 100% racist. Of course, that is what she was talking about. That's projection, and you know how it's projection? They tried to push this idea that it was the film that was doing so. It was the screenwriters that was arguing that King Kong and black people are the same, but no, they weren't. He came to that conclusion out of nowhere with his own point of view. That was his own fault. He chose to have that ridiculous idea. That was his own fault. No one told him to think that way. He put a whole A in change, and he assumed it was about black people. And yet, mind you, That was his own thing. And yet he's trying to project that onto the screenwriters as if they're the ones who did so, when that's not the case. This is the same thing with this. She called them out for being racist, and this person is showing the exact racism that she was talking about and trying to project this as if this is her own doing or she was the one being racist. No, she was not being racist. She's not comparing black people to so. That's not the case. She's calling you idiots out by making an actual example of your behavior. And guess what? You prove her point by literally doing exactly what she was calling you guys out on doing.
She's the one bringing it up, comparing pets to black people.
Yeah,
I
Not
didn't
true.
thought of it like
So
that.
what's going
No, you idiots were thought about that, which is why you're bringing it up by projecting. You can't act as if this is your own point of view. Well, no, you idiots are the ones doing so. Arguments that you treat animals way better than actual non-white people. That is her point. You idiots are the ones comparing them as if they're animals. That is her argument. You idiots are doing so.
Oh, your sick Chinese mind, lady.
White
And of course,
people.
bring up the fact that she's Chinese, even though that's completely is irrelevant to anything. It does not actually debunk anything at all, for crying out loud. Seriously. Seriously. I love the whole argument of they're determined to find racism when these people are actually the ones being flat out racist. So once again, it goes to the comments, of course, and they're not even doing any like legit arguments. They have comments like this, not hiding the whole argument that yes, they know what they're doing. But the thing too, you have comments like this. And yeah, these people use commonly as an excuse saying, oh, I'm not racist towards Asian. Like I thought commonly, like that does not make me racist. Yes, it does, you freaking idiot. Right? These are the comments that are in his audience because yes, they all agree with this type of point of view. Seriously. Like seriously, and of course, oh hey, she's not allowed to criticize, her adopted parents. Wait, you have actually people who do criticize their own parents because they're abusers or so forth. And yes, because kids are not objects, they're not property. You might be like, their child, that does not mean anything, for crying out loud. Seriously. You're doing this as a job, not doing this as if it's a choice. Because yes, you can still give to someone else. Seriously. And we got this thing where it's not even any better. Oh, it really is. And yes, let's continue with another point as well, because this was just straight up disgusting, like just flat out disgusting. I'm gonna bring up.
live action on hold after Snow White backlash? Francesca something Rivers was reportedly cast as Rapunzel.
And I believe this is the same woman who was opposite of Tom Holland in that Romeo and Juliet. Romeo, where art thou?
Yeah.
And you know what's so funny? You have dumb. It is like that black conservative guy, I'm forgetting his name, where he legit heard about this play, no, heard about the whole Romeo and Juliet situation. He had a whole meltdown, making a whole entire video, kind of how, oh my gosh, this is insulting. This makes no sense. Ignore the fact that once again, you make a freaking movie or TV show, you don't have to freaking copy and paste the original source material. You freaking idiot. But of course, he doesn't actually care about respecting the source material. He's just being racist and nothing else. Like seriously, nothing else. And like, I want to bring up. You got this version of the movie, of course, that existed. Of course, are these people actually complaining about it? No. And you know what's so funny? Yes, a lot of these people were race cast as an example, or they're not 100% accurate to the source material. You really think Romeo and Juliet at the actual time the original book was created in their time had guns? No, of course not. Do you think that they were all in a gang? No, of course not. Do you think that this actual thing was actually accurate to the original source material? No, of course not. Do they actually care about that stuff? No, they don't. Like another example right here, for crying out loud. Seriously. 1968, 1999, 96, and 1998 as an example. So 3 different adaptations of it, and yet they all look different, not 100% accurate to the original source material. And it was even funny. Yes, she was underage while filming this, and yet she had a nude scene where she had to have sex with a grown man. That was the thing. And yet some of these people showed it to actual teenagers at the time. What the F? And what's worse, you can find these things on Twitter or on those sites where they're going to be linking it for some reason. What the F? Just what the F? And like, it's just so absurd. And this stuff is just out in the open. And yeah, you're going to have Elon Musk supposed to be, stopping this stuff, and yet they don't. Like you have this person who's supposed to be like, and stuff. You have this person who's dressed as an astronaut, even though that was never a thing at the time. And yet, do they actually care about respecting the source material? No, of course not. They don't actually care. And then let's continue. No, let's just continue as an example, right? Let's just let it continue. And you got this situation where, let's be honest, is it 100% one for one? No, of course not. It's not going to be a one for one out either, in any sense of form. But do these people care? No. Like seriously, when it comes to the black conservative as an example, I'm typing with one hand, my bad. As an example, right? You have like that one guy literally had a whole meltdown for no valid reason, just crying and complaining about it, and nothing else. Just crying and complaining about this, and that's it. Seriously. Oh yeah, here it is. Yes, here it is. That black conservative perspective. His whole argument is, oh, if this was like a play, then so be it. But it's like, no, it isn't. Like, it was a play. You're freaking idiot. It shouldn't matter whether it's a play or not. They should be allowed to do what they want to do. It's none of your business out in any sense of form. No, this guy, his issue is that yes, he's a black person who doesn't like black people himself, and it's just so embarrassing and nothing else. Like as an example, right? We can just go up here as an example to find that one video he actually made, and he just made that whole entire argument. Let me just see if I can find the video. Of course, the guys like set this up early, but I don't care. And, like even here, they argue that yes, it went woke because it actually is going woke. Just because they had a black person cast in a role, so that's mad. Like that's bad enough for some reason. Seriously. And just so embarrassing for crying out loud. It's not about whether she's trapped or not. It's all because, oh, she's black. She's not allowed to be there. She does not exist. She does not exist at all. Even though, once again, they don't actually give an F.
Oh no. Are you reading? Hey, anybody who pretends to not know what we're doing here, really, she's not free. She's iconic Shakespearean, here's the worst person that compulsory. But this is meant to be like a dividing thing for people. Half the population is just going, yeah, we can't say anything about this is great. And then the other guys are going, why is China involved in playing Juliet? And then those two groups are going to fight, and one group's going to call they're racist, and the other group's going to call they're insane and brainwashed. And that's how your will be, yeah. If it works for people, yeah, this is normal, this is reality, this makes sense. It's like basically being a rich king who rules.
Stupid. Stupid. It's not even a movie. It's a freaking play. It's a play. And even if it was a movie, it shouldn't matter regardless. Because it's adaptation.
Silver village. And you take a silver cup, you put it in the center of town, and you tell everybody you're not gonna touch this, right? No, walk away, and none of you are gonna touch this. It's such control over reality. I can put something obvious right in front of you, and you're not even gonna know, and you're too scared to say anything. And the thing that you're too scared to say is that she should not fucking do it again. Like, come on. Like, she's not that, but it's like, why do you make me think that?
A lot of harassment and torture stuff. Things like saying Romeo and Juliet movie rewriting history.
Right. Anyway, rewriting history. You see how stupid this is? Ignoring the fact that Romeo and Juliet is not a documentary. It's not history. It's fiction. It's bloody fake. Crying aloud. Seriously. And for number two, literally, this version of the movie is not even accurate. It's not a one-for-one from their actual book. It was set place in a modern society at the time in the 90s. And yeah, their argument that it's rewriting history when it's not. It's just an adaptation. I'm sorry. If you're legit mad, we can still work over a non-white person just exists in the media and try to argue that it's rewriting history. I'm sorry, you're telling on yourself.
Juliet is playing on me, and first after playing Juliet, actually, man, I don't care about that because people say care, but they need a garden gnome version of Juliet. So this is another
And yeah, and that's another thing I like to bring up too. And the two, we have these people that don't give an F. They garden note of the story too. And yeah, not these people had a single complaint about that. Not because yes, they're white people, because they don't actually give an F about respecting the racial story material. None of them do, and that's the issue.
rewriting history just to do with racism. It also bad that the me actually the same phone announcement of Romeo and Juliet after horrible racial online, ready for it, company. This is stuff you can post redress it. But actually, this is so.
And you know what's funny? We have dumb is like Brett Cooper, this person also saying oh, it's not racism because we said so. It was like, no, it is. When did we get to the actual Insta post I was showing you earlier?
It's totally sold out and we're being moved to Roman, and we hope to keep as much of the original cast as possible. Send enough love and support for us here.
Alright guys, we gotta talk about a hilarious story, an extremely predictable story, especially in the year 2024.
It's predictable, but yet you can't own up to the fact that yes, it's wrong. No, his whole video is arguing how this type of behavior is 100% justified.
Where the race hustle is very, very possible. And media, entertainment, they like to do things to...
It's not race hustling. It's just you. It is being flat out racist. What you're doing is a definition of race hustling. You're literally using your own black identity as a justification to why you're being anti-black to support actual Nazis. Wait, that's race hustling.
Backlash. Again, like, when they get backlash, they were actually trying to get by the intent. But
No, so they were not going all the way. I said a black person to get racist backlash. What the? I'm sorry, they're going to hire a freaking black person for a role so that they can get harassed, or get death threats, so on and so forth, for attention. No one's doing that. Seriously, they thought that hey, she's good for the role. Let's have her, whatever. That's it. And you idiots saw that. And what's funny? Most adults, we're not even going to see the play regardless, nor even going to watch it, nor even going to watch out good faith. You're just going to bash on it for no legit reason. It's no different with these idiots bashing on Ironheart, not because it's any legit good reason, but so because it's about a black woman, and that's what they don't like that. They just want another media of a straight white guy being the only focus, and that's it. And that's why they didn't like it. That's all they got, nothing else. But try to push this idea that these people are casting these people in the role for backlash, harassment. I'm sorry, you're telling on yourself that yes, you're the one supporting and advocating for harassment, but you can't own up to it.
backlash to promote their woke production, right? One, two, law, and anyone trying to...
I'm sorry?
Hey, backlash against
Someone being gay, someone being a woman, someone being black, someone being Asian is not woke. It's not woke. They're just cast someone. Someone existing is not woke.
this, right? Something that we're doing on purpose to make you upset. It's racism.
They're not doing this on purpose to get people upset. You saw someone existing and you're losing your mind over it. I'm sorry, that's not the production's fault. That's your fault. Seriously. There's no reason for it to happen. Instead of him acknowledging saying, hey, yeah, this should not be happening, it's wrong. No, he's literally is in denial and making any justifications for this behavior.
Right? And they use that in order to promote their production, right?
No, it's not. They don't do it at all for that reason. They don't do these things. That's what they're still to promote their stuff regardless.
We gotta talk about here today. There's a lot of backlash. Is the Romeo and Juliet West End production that is taking place in London, and the producers of this production are lashing out because of the deplorable racial abuse that...
I love Mike. It's so funny. He's literally as if it's not real. It's just, oh, it's racial abuse as if it's not happening. When yes, it legit is. Mike, his issue was literally just the fact that the actress is not a white person, and that's it. That is literally it. That woman calling out the double standard and hypocrisy, but these people don't actually give that. Mike, a woman literally straight up call them out, but they don't actually give them out.
A lot of harassment and torture stuff. Things like Romeo and Juliet versus not repairing history. Romeo
Really, seriously, there's comments like that. And this idiot is like, oh, it's not happening. He's pretending that it's made up, it's fiction. When there's actual evidence right there, his own tweet itself is literally saying that yes, this is a real comment that they're making.
is playing on me, and first after playing Juliet, actually, man, I don't care about that because people say care, but they need a garden gnome version of Romeo and Juliet.
So once again, this is not about respecting history or whatever or anything like that. No, you're just racist.
Are lashing out because of the deplorable racial abuse that one of the co-stars in this production is receiving. Now, this is a hilarious story because I believe this is trying to purpose.
It's not done on purpose.
To elicit this response.
Well, yeah, we have a
The barbecue is the fact is like how he's not gonna show any of the actual racist comments that's happening. He knows it's there, but he's not to be like in his own fantasy and it's not real, it's not legit. Because he's supporting it, he's advocating for that type of behavior. He knows what he's doing, which like he's race housing himself.
I don't know. Does the director didn't anticipate any other problems? It's to create controversy.
No one is doing it for that reason, stupid.
Get the most rewarding ticket on Broadway.
I'll go skip this
Day
out.
6 rewards.
I'll go skip this out.
Now, what they realize, you guys can understand what's going on. They would place a video of reaction to people having to some backlash this actress is getting. Before we get into the word, the sponsor of the video.
No one cares.
The play is to do in West End this month, and we're head to Broadway, out and a ticket for the going to the mirror. The producer, the Jane Gold posted a message on Instagram speaking against the poor racial abuse towards a member of our company believed to be on Rivers going to Entertainment Weekly. Quote, this must stop taking away we are working with the Robert bars. We insist that they are free to bring work about physical harassment.
Yes, and that's correct. Because it's their job. They're allowed to do so. If you're out here arguing that they should not, I'm sorry, you're the problem. No, you have this idiot, this freaking white supremacist dick sucker that is literally making an excuse on how this behavior is totally okay. Stupid. She's not getting criticism. None of this is criticism. I'm sorry. Your so-called criticism is she's black. She should not be. I'm sorry. That's not criticism. You're just being racist. You freaking idiot. You have someone legit arguing that they're rewriting history when Romeo and Juliet is not history. It's fiction. For crying out loud.
People online say what they want to say, but they don't want you to speak out loud something that
But yeah, when it's the other way around, someone is out here advocating for censorship.
they don't purpose. We're going to talk about it.
They're not doing this on purpose. Show us actual evidence that they actually cast this woman just to get the controversy up on purpose. I mean, he does not have any. He's just in denial. He's making excuses on how this is totally okay, this is justified, but he can't own up to the fact that yes, it is racism, and he's supporting it. He's arguing, oh, they're doing this on purpose. No, they're not. He just cast a woman in the role, and you idiots saw that, and you had a meltdown over it. First, he would just assume that yes, it was a whole entire movie or a document, whatever, right? And of course, you admitted to the fact that if this was like a play, then it should be fine. I mean, it was a play, and yet you're still having a meltdown for no legit reason.
No,
because you got no, because you have some people that are willing to send her death threats as well as doxing her or whatever. So yes, her life can be in danger because yes, she's just existing.
This is the individual they have to do that.
Yeah, and your point, she's playing a character. Your point, and what's funny, he proves the point that no, they're just being racist. I mean, it shouldn't matter. You're playing a character. It shouldn't matter.
This is not enough money to buy my soul. This is not enough money, okay?
I mean, you're literally selling your soul for white supremacists that don't see you as a human being. They will hang you up. And your point, you know that the original movie, they had a natural minded kid with an actual grown adult. I mean, you don't actually give an F.
Hey, it's just a man. It's just a man. Y'all money, okay, okay, you know, I don't get maybe he's a lot of we all know fine. This production company is getting backlash for hiring this young lady to be Juliet.
because they found her perfect for the role. Like, even if the cast is there, right? This dude would still cry complaint so because she's black and nothing else. It would still be the same excuse. It doesn't matter whether she's ugly or attractive. No, just her not being white is bad for them. No, they did not know about this stuff. Because it was unnecessary. There's no reason for this stuff to happen. You literally are doing that for that exact reason. Shut up. You're literally attacking her solely because she's not white. That's exactly the reason. You know that's the reason. Right? We already went through the whole tweet and they legit argued that this is rewriting history. For crying out loud. And their issue is that yes, she's black. I'm like, this idiot is literally out here flat out in denial, pretending that that's not the reason because he knows it's the exact reason. For crying out loud. I'm like, this is why I said, when you see a lot of these white supremacist stuff, they're gonna be using idiots like this person as a source of, see, I'm not racist, trust me guys, like, I subscribe to this guy's channel. No, you only subscribe to his channel because he is defending your own bigotry. Not because you actually respect him, but because he's grifting and pandering to you and nothing else. He's Uncle Ruckus and nothing else. She's fine. She is attractive. You really should not be talking especially for your own self. I mean, you're literally out here calling her ugly solely because she's black. The Soul Sisters. Now the fact that there's actual people, it was a white woman that's also upset is yes, it's unnecessary. Saying the Soul Sister, but in reality, he's just talking about black people because yes, this is a black guy that doesn't like black people himself, which is not that surprising. Of course, he's going to find any justification to defend actual legit racism. Because she was good for the role. That was it. She signed the audition, and she got the role for the exact reason. Once again, not true. For crying out loud. No, because you're attacking her solely because she's black. It's not even about her being attractive. Your idiots are calling her ugly because she's black. You say the Soul Sister is a white person, which is telling you that you guys are being bigoted. Seriously. And look like this person is also in denial that it has nothing to do with her being race. That's how when you go to almost all of the comments, it's literally just her being black being the issue. Or that they could be using dog whistle when in reality that is exactly the issue. Like if it was played by, like, let's say a solely attractive female or a black female, yeah, no, they also go complain about it. It was Zendaya as an example. They would still complain about this stuff. It was another like Kiki Palmer. They would still complain about this stuff. It was an attractively black female. They would still complain about this stuff. It's not about her being attractive or not. It's still because yes, she's black. If it has a hot or sexy Asian woman or a sexy Latina, they would still complain about this stuff because they're not white. That's it. Exactly, and that's the point. And this is why I said when it comes to the whole the known version of Romeo and Juliet, these two did not give a bloody F at all. It's not about whether she's attractive or not. It's as long as they're white, it doesn't matter. And that's the point. So of course, him calling her ugly is not because she is. It's all because yes, it's sort of racist ideology that yes, black people are not attractive in any sense matter, which is completely stupid.
For black actors, playing a character that is beloved or quote unquote classical that is white is never worth the squeeze. As far as the racial vitriol and hatred and bigotry that they encounter just by doing their job and getting the role, it's not.
Exactly, and that's the thing. They're just existing, doing their jobs, and they're getting hate for no legit reason. Like, you have legit, is been playing MJ for crying out loud, Michelle Jones. She's still getting hate for no legit reason for doing her job. This has nothing to do with respecting the racial source material. For crying out loud. Turns out it's not a movie, it's in play.
She's a young black actress. I don't know who she is. I've never seen before, but get out the comments in these videos on this fucking app. The disgusting racist comments. Just look up 24 Romeo and Juliet on this app and go to the comment section.
Once again, like this person say, go to the comment section. Now, does this guy actually go to the comment section? No, he is right. Even if he does show you the comment section, he's not going to show you. Like this person say, when it comes to that one comment about how the fact that he wants to be back in the old days where black people were slaves again, I'm sorry, this idiot, not this woman, this idiot right here, right, would make any excuse on how that type of point of view, that comment is completely based. It's completely good.
The people that are posting these videos, the disgusting things that they're saying about this young boy, saying Romeo and Shaquisha, Romeo and food stamps, Romeo sexually, what actual fuck.
Once again, this is actual racist comments. And no, you have this idiot, Greg, pretending that, oh no, this has nothing to do with her being white. I mean, yes, it literally is.
People that are commenting are probably on sexually food stamps, whatever else, but it's just disgusting racism. This is coming from grown ass people.
Get the most rewarding ticket on Broadway with Today Tips Rewards. Earn tips cash.
And you know, shut. And you know what's even way more funnier is that this is similar to Moses Ingram when she was just existing a brand new character for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, right? And yeah, dumb kids like Brett Cooper. That was just like the racism that Trini Tran, I forgot her name, Kelly Tran, Kelly Tran for crying. I have no idea. I forgot her name, right? So here's her, but she was actually getting racist and that she left the platform and stuff. Yes, she was denying it because there's no evidence. They ignored the fact that the evidence were actually in the comments that you can find online still to this very exact day. That's what for the certain community that she's pandering to. But it's so funny when Moses Ingram provided evidence that she knows that idiots like Brett Cooper are going to deny her. It's so funny how with Brett Cooper she acknowledged that at least she provided evidence. In the same exact breath, she still denied the evidence. She acknowledged that they exist, but still trying to argue this is not racist comments. It's just criticism. They're just valid criticism. I'm sorry, them saying discussing racist stuff about her for crying out loud and try to mock her solely because she's black. It's not valid criticism. I'm like, never, literally on camera, flat arguing that the racism that she was getting is constructive criticism and backlash that she deserved it. She flat made that argument that she deserved it. And doesn't want to own up to the fact that yes, it's racist. Owns up to the fact that yes, she provided evidence, but denied the fact that the evidence is racist. I'm sorry, Brett, shut the F up. Yes, you are a white supremacist. And of course, you have dummies like you who could be simping for her, of course. It's not that bloody surprising. Seriously, it's the same thing with her when it comes to Yasuke as an example. She liked the story, she liked the show, whatever, but her issue is solely because he is black and not white. But she made it clear as day and admitted to that exact reason in her own Assassin's Creed video. Of course, that's what she was doing. Use a black guy who's a pygmy black dude and Uncle Ruckus as her excuse of see, I'm not racist, and use a black guy who owns his hate on black people too. And of course, she's using him again in another video just to argue why yes, a black person should not be lead in any media to begin with. So it's not that surprising. And what is this guy's going to do? Right, but one provide actual examples of legit racism and comments that was happening. Is he going to own up to the fact that they exist? No, he's going to do the opposite and pretend that it doesn't exist. Watch.
Again, I personally think this is a point of games.
So her just playing a character, so she deserves a backlash. They didn't. I'm sorry. They are not casting a black woman for a role on purpose to get backlash. That's not what anyone is doing. If this is your conclusion, I'm sorry. You are telling on yourself immediately. You are immediately telling on yourself. That does not mean that they did it on purpose. For crying out loud. That does not mean they did it on purpose. They're not out here actively, you know what, let's cast a black person so we can get backlash. No, if they acknowledge that they're going to get backlash just because of bigoted people online don't like whatever, I'm sorry, that does not mean they're doing it on purpose, nor that was their intention, or that they want that stuff to happen. And if they're acknowledging that's bound to happen, we're crying out loud. This is why I brought the whole example for those OnlyFans, one girl who was there for the event as an example to show the fact that yes, she knew what she was doing, but the thing is, she knew what she was actually doing what she was doing. But that does not mean she deserved it either way. She accepted that type of behavior was going to happen. So this situation, no, they knew that yes, they're going to get backlash from racist people, but that does not mean they didn't have the intention to hit those things. They did not want that stuff. They didn't know it was going to happen. That's how legit. Move to a certain area, where yes, you see online that there's sex offenders around your area, or one that is like next door or your apartment and stuff. Yes, did you meant to do it on purpose? No, but since you know about that stuff, yes, at least you're aware of it and you're prepared of what was going to happen. That's not mean you did it on purpose or that you want it to happen. I love the whole argument. It had nothing to do with race. And like I said before, he's going to deny it. You have a whole woman, mind you, actual woman, providing examples that yes, you can go to the comments, you can go to these things, it is just racism. It's flat, it's racism. And this idiot argument is, oh, it has nothing to do with racism. Yes, it literally is. Yeah, someone else bring up the fact that yes, bring up the fact of oh, she's black, so that means she's not attractive. And that was Jake called out. Yes, it was racism. It's no argument that her just existing in the cast, whether it's a movie or a play, so it's rewriting history. Homie, it's just racism. It doesn't matter whether it does not matter whether she was attractive or not. So you still acknowledging, and yes, even if she was attractive, there would still be backlash. So no, it was about racism. It was never about how attractive she was. Right, no, let me just say this backlash. So anyways, okay, like let's hit it again. It legit does. A visually attractive, beautiful black woman, I don't think the backlash should be nearly enough. So meaning it doesn't matter whether she's attractive or not. She will still get backlash for just existing as a black person and not a white woman. It's no different when it comes to Rachel Zegler from no legit reason, even though she's mixed for crying out loud as well. She's very licensed Latina. To me, it doesn't matter. No, these people don't actually give an F about Snow White, nor they actually like the original material, or know anything about the original material, nor means that they actually like the actual cartoon or anything like that. None of these people do. They like to go online pretend that they care, when in reality they bloody don't. The thing too, it's about the fact that their issue is literally just the fact they're racist. So meaning it is racism, nothing else. I don't think that it's not to use people for racist. Like, I gotta get this, right? It's school place. You use whoever is part of the back, whoever. Remember this, and let's always say afterwards. I don't think that backlash was right. I think they knew that. Wait, I don't think the backlash was there. Homie, it's literally so there right now. You're freaking idiot, and you're still crying about it. Homie, they were not doing this stuff. Like you idiots were not doing any racial hate. Y'all kept your mouth shut and shut the F up. And no one will point you guys out. You're mad because you idiots are getting called out on your racism. And that's what you're upset about. And you try to push this idea of, oh, you're doing this on purpose. No, they're not. I mean, they just cast over for the role, and you idiots are losing your minds over it for no legit valid reason and nothing else. Sorry, that's not their fault. They're not doing it on purpose. No, you also exist and you did not like that. Yes, you get called on this. That's not them trying to reach for anything. No, you idiots could have just kept your mouth shut and don't say a single thing. That's it. And no one will be saying anything back to you. Okay, it has nothing to do with black. It really is. Yes, because it is about her being black. If it's not about her being black, then you idiots would not make a deal. None of the other idiots would make the deals. As well, you idiots would not make a lot of these racist comments, of course. So you legit own up to the fact that yes, even if she was attractive, there would still be backlash. So it's not about whether she's attractive or not. It's about the fact she is black. Stop trying to deny it as if that's not the case. If me and her were to I would think that I would look like, but again, she did the same model right? So yeah, I'm saying. So maybe you should probably keep your mouth shut and don't talk about someone else's attractiveness when you yourself are not even attractive yourself. And of course, let's just argue that they have to be obese. Let's just argue about that for no legit reason. Let's just have a ridiculous, extreme example that's not a good example either. That's not a fair example to make a valid point. No. Him being white, completely attractive, but then being fat, oh no, that's where it's bad. Just show the fact that no, he's being bad faith and he knows what he's doing. I think that people would have something to say, just like they have something to say. No, because you guys don't like that people either. It's not about actual good faith or legit criticism. You guys are literal Nazis. You guys are bigots. It literally is about her being black. You own up to that part. They are in denial mode. I mean, because she's not white. If she was white, Asian, Indian, Arab, whatever, if she was obese, okay. She's not even obese. The actress is not even fat either. You're freaking idiot. It's not about whether she's obese or not. It's so funny. He can't own up to the fact that yes, it's racial based for no legit reason. And the only form of being unattractive is being fat. Nothing else. Just nothing else. Ignore the fact that there's some white women. Guess what? They are not going to be that attractive or some sort. They don't have to be fat. But it's so big. He needs to put out a ridiculous standard because he is being so bad faith. Or just not very attractive person. Right? If you're not traditionally attractive, it's not about that. It's not about being attractive or not. That's not the point. No, it is about that. And that's your argument. It's so funny. He's literally jumping through hoops, doing the definition of mental gymnastics just to suck off white slave masters' dicks. So, and most of those things came from actual white supremacy. Some of these things actually are toxic and dangerous that aren't factually or science-based. Instead, they're propaganda. That is a bloody fact. And yes, a lot of these research are misogynistic or 100% very racist AF. And I want to know why. Only because actual white supremacists push that onto other cultures. Yet, they won't be considered to be beautiful. You literally proved that point yourself multiple times already. You can have the most attractive black woman, and yet they still would not be seen as beautiful by people like you. Because they're not white. It's so funny, like his argument is not actually owning up to what he's doing. It's she's not beautiful. Instead of owning up to the fact, it's just her being black. I'm sorry. Yes, she is a victim. She's playing a role. She's just getting paid. She's getting harassment. So because of her own existence. Yes, that's harassment. Because it is. It's not criticism. It is backlash. You have people who provide actual examples that yes, it was just straight up racism and nothing else. So what does the EBT or whatever have to do with her being attractive? Only it doesn't. It legit does. But no, mind you, this idiot is looking for any justification for what's going on. He has nothing to say. Mind you, he has nothing of value to say at all. Crying out loud. When you talk about any example of this when she was a minor of this situation, he's not saying anything because he doesn't actually give enough in any sense of form. Like seriously, he doesn't care at all. Let's go with like any adaptations, right? Any adaptations in movies and TV shows, like any bloody adaptations. Like seriously, you have countless of different adaptations for crying out loud. Countless. Even this one right here. And this one. And this one. All of these things right here. Yeah, it's a common trope in movies and TV shows. Another situation where a freaking zombie was freaking Romeo. Are you bloody kidding me? And yeah, you idiots are not gonna cry about how, oh, it's disrespectful to the original source material. Oh my gosh, it's rewriting history. You're not saying anything about that stuff. This is a bloody zombie falling in love with an actual human being, a living one. You guys are not crying how it's rewriting history, but no, a black person, this existing, no, that's too far. How dare they? How bloody dare they? Like, disgusting. Legit, the gnome version of it. Oh no, that's disgusting. How dare they do it? How dare they? Like, legit, a black person, how dare they for some reason? But this, perfection, just perfection for some reason. Just because they said so. Like, seriously, we got these type of adaptations that exist. But of course, do they care? No, they don't actually give an F. None of them do. So when it comes down to it, is I want to bring this example up multiple times to prove a point. So with these people, they don't actually give an F. So we go continue.
Oh, Rapunzel, let down your hair for real. I'm a climate.
Your auntie ain't around, is she? Just stop trying to race swap people. Just stop. It's not a winning formula. I don't know who
That's a lot. And two, it's not about race swap or not. You idiots do not like any representation at all, unless it only relates to a white person existing.
the person is. Disney has a Bud Light marketing woman somewhere who just keeps doing it. I think in the original Rapunzel story, the guy is a thief who runs into and finds.
Not actually accurate, but you see how he does not know jack about the original story when he's clearly comparing an adaptation of the book as not even accurate to the original source material. He's using this as a source for what the original source material was about, even though it was not even accurate. For crying out loud.
They're gonna have to change that.
So yeah, he's gonna be a doctor now.
Seriously. Like, it's not about race swap or anything like that. No, you idiots are just racist. When it comes to the Power Rangers, the 1993 and the 2017, you know all of them were bladed race swap? For crying out loud? Of course, these idiots don't actually give an F about that. It's like you're whitewashing characters. That's totally justified. For crying out loud. Even when it comes to Avatar, The Last Airbender and stuff, the Netflix version and the original version. Well, yes, guess what? The original version, not just whitewashing, almost all the characters were 100% was race swap too. But of course, you don't have these people crying complain about that because they don't actually give an F. That's all. It's a whitewash part of it where a white person is in the front. They don't actually give an F of whether or not anything's happening. But the other way around, with the Netflix version, no, they were crying about how it's woke because they don't actually give an F about it, and that's it. And of course, it's so funny with the whole, oh, they're obsessed with race. But homie, you idiots are the ones legit crying about her being black. You see her exist and you're losing your mind over it. Homie, you're the one obsessed with race. It doesn't matter whether they create a new character at all. It doesn't matter, right? I just show an example of the whole, like, Romeo and Juliet. You really have gnomes with, using the theme of the story, right? And you have a zombie version of the story. Do people give an F? No, they bloody don't. None of them do. And that's the point, and that's the problem. They don't actually give an F. Of course, when it comes to actually having an original character like Ironheart or Miles Morales as an example, they don't care. We still have the same exact complaint and issue solely because they're not white dudes doing so. Not about whether you're race or anything. You're just bigoted and nothing else. And I love this whole argument of it trying to make Tiana white. That's completely different because of course they go upward. It's whitewash and take away representation for minorities for no legit reason. You have counts of story with a white person in a role. I'm sorry, we do not need that in every single media, and that's a bloody fact. Your role is not being taken away or stripped away. Homie, you got counts of media for crying out for centuries where you people were literally the only focus, not just main focus, not only focus, and that's it. You guys get praised for just existing, but not white people get shamed for their existence and nothing else. I know this one out here is just mad. So because yes, the person is not a white person, and that's it. And of course, more racist comments, of course, and another ridiculous misrepresentation of what the actual show was telling them. And of course, this right here, this here, I love this whole arm of oh, real sorry, whatever. But it's like, no, you never liked Disney. Like, please shut the F up. And of course, we have this whole fake nuanced approach comment of, oh, I believe that she's very talented, whatever, and then they continue to show their true intention for the arc of this is about being diverse anymore. No, stop. Go the whole L, they try and change important detail. How about that? It's making an adaptation is harming you. So you're just saying we're not to have an alternate version of the original story. You're literally just saying that. Oh wait, no, we're allowed to have it as long as white people doing it. But a non-white person just existing, even her whatever, that's where it's too far. Mind you, this is why I brought up the Romeo and Juliet 1996 version of it, right? That's why I brought that version up to prove the double standards of it. If that happened at that time, and they still race about one of the characters, and what's funny, the rest of the whole movie was not accurate, nor is it one for one from the original book or the original story. But do these people have the same complaint that Romeo and his gang are using guns? Of course not. Are they mad that they're driving cars? Of course not. They don't care. It's not about actual respect the original source material. No, their issue is just them being racist. And so funny, this whole arm of, oh, it's not racism because they said so, when it really is about her being black. You have countless comments literally make it obvious that no, the issue is her being black and not white. And that's it. That's the argument. And it's so funny that this person is denying it, saying that it's not that's not the reason. For some reason, when it's not. It's not the case. You have this whole scene where it's Julia's castle and it's just filled with watermelon. There's no difference with Yasuke. Just walk around again, and they have these racist idiots who bring out watermelons and KFC. And they're trying to push this idea that they're not being racist or it has nothing to do with race, when it literally is. And of course, more racist comments, of course. And another racist comment. So, and of course, these idiots try to argue that, oh, it has nothing to do with racism, when it legit is. Seriously. I love this whole argument of how you're alienated the majority. I'm sorry. No, they're not. I'm sorry. If you think classic and not white person and having them just exist is alienating people, I'm sorry. You're projecting right here. You are literally projecting of what you want. You want to alienate black people. You want to alienate gay people. You want to alienate women. You want to alienate anything that's not a straight white person, and that's it. Not just a straight white person, a straight white guy. You want to alienate them. And yet, when that doesn't work and that's not happening, if you are saying, hey, yeah, we're not going to alienate people, we will actually bring them in and we will have to be fair for everyone else. You're crying out loud. You can be fair for straight guys, white men, black people, Asian people, gay people. We're be fair towards everyone regardless. And you see that as a threat on you because you think you're being alienated because you want to alienate other people. And this is the problem. So saying this nonsense that you felt alienated, I'm sorry, you're telling yourself because no, you're the one that want to do it towards other people. And like, you have dumb is like a chill that'll be out here, will be seeing these type of comments, but will still be agreeing with it and not see the fact that, hey, yeah, no, you're proving people's point that you're just a Nazi. So now let's just continue with this part right here, right? Because I want to bring something up. I just want to bring something up. Because what I found very funny is that she was not even the only one that was rumored to be cast for the character when this one here, a South Asian person, was also rumored to be cast. And this happened around 2024 actually. So this was old too. Yeah, guess what happened? Also sparked racist backlash because of course it did. For crying out loud. It's not about actual respect to the racial source material. It's just solely purely based on racism and nothing bloody else. Seriously, nothing bloody else. And that's it. Just nothing bloody else. And if you like it, I do encourage you to watch the full video, of course. You can discuss it. We're going to discuss it just a bit. One second, let me just bring it up as an example. So we can like go back to this part right here. And yeah, so when we continue with this, it just gets worse and worse over time. We have Dumb is like Amala as an example, making any excuse to justify legit racism. No different to like that Greg guy from earlier that I was talking about. And mind you have literally these two idiots right here, if you can see it. Not hiding the fact that yes, they're being freaking racist. I love this whole idea. It's ridiculous whenever people race off a character of a beloved movie. Like when they say stuff like, "Oh, something is beloved," or whatever. I'm sorry, they're making stuff up. When in reality, they don't actually like the characters. They don't give a f about this stuff, nor actually watch it for actual entertainment. They just watch it because they're bored or whatever. Dumb BS. Not because they actually have a strong connection with the characters. Seriously, that's exactly how is casting a non-white person in the role is harming you. Seriously, so you're saying that we're not allowed to have a character that relates to people? It's only fine when it relates to you. And this is why I find so funny. These people are so much anti-representation, but yet they're pro-representation only when it benefits them. They're willing to take away representation from minorities as long as it benefits them in that state. But if a minority is saying, hey, yeah, what about our representation? Like, we should matter. We should have people that we relate to. Someone, we're not allowed to have that for some reason. Someone is, oh, you're just being woke. But yet, when it's their turn, oh, no, it's only important when it happens towards them, and that's it. Nothing else. Seriously. Ignore the fact that once again, Pocahontas, Jasmine, and Tiana, I'm sorry, them being black, being Indian, whatever, right? Being Middle Eastern, Indian, Asian, or Native American. I mean, that was part of the actual story itself. Someone being white in these stories has nothing to do with the actual story. And number two, you have another conversation push this whole idea of it's like that some don't think in the original story of an Asian song will make money. I mean, people who are thinking that are you idiots. Which is so funny. Like they're telling on themselves of exactly what they really feel and think. What's wrong with this? I say it's so funny. They're telling themselves of what they actually believe and feel and think, and nothing else. They love telling on themselves, and you call yourself out like this, and they trying to play that they're not being racist by being flat out racist AF. Once again, this whole idea of that whole as if like people like me or normal people pushing this idea of oh yeah original stories with non-white characters of oh it's not gonna make money. Only you idiots are the ones who are doing it. When it comes to Black Panther, it's like you were the ones arguing that it's not gonna make money. So because it's a black person, whenever it's only diversity existing, not just race, like only diversity, a gay person just exists, even in the background, black person, an Asian person, just existing. You idiots are the ones arguing that it's not gonna make money. Whenever go woke, go broke. You idiots are the ones arguing it's not going to make money or it's not gonna be interesting. That's it, an actual interesting story, and they want to make his a story about him. And yet you idiots lost their minds over it. You argue how it's going to go broke, and you try to go either way to make sure the game fails because you cannot find non-white people interesting at all. You do not want to see them as an interesting characters. When it comes to Riri Williams and like with Jezebel, she does not like her so because she's a bigot. So of course, but she has to find any excuse to try to make it look like oh she's not an interesting character at all, whatever, on purpose, not because she actually cares about what she's talking about. She's just a bigot and nothing else. Seriously, and it's so funny how like only form of like representation for black people is only when it relates to being African in that state. Coming to America, Lion King, Madagascar, that's the only form of like representation that we're allowed to have. Only when it allows to us to be a form of stereotypes in that state. It's all black people come from Africa because this person think that way for some reason. And oh yeah, by the way, where yes, there's a lot of lack of representation because it's just one group in that state. That's not representation. That's complete opposite. That's more of a segregation for crying out loud. But of course, they don't care about that. They want that stuff. If you ask this person to actually name Asian movies, black movies, or anything like that, she can't tell you because she doesn't watch them, or she would name you like very popular movies that actual and known people like, but not because she watched it, but because other people talk about that and she knows about that stuff, or she'd be out here just completely like bring up movies that she clearly does not understand the point of at all. And trying to argue that oh it is participation trophy or clickbaiting or just lazy. Wait, no, it isn't. And whenever people say the whole write a great story or a great script or make a great movie, I'm sorry, they're telling on themselves. They're telling on themselves for crying out loud. And we can continue with like the TikToks, of course, as an example, right? We can continue. You have all of these things right here as an example. So let's just go with Amala.
Makes sense for an Indian actress to portray Rapunzel. They're saying that Indian women are known for having.
And mind you, remember this. So whenever you have dumb is like Greg trying to push this idea that it's not about racism or because the person is not white, that's a flat lie. You'll have you like Amala pretending that's not about her being, not white. It's always about that. She's making clear and say that is the reason.
Long hair, or creating beautiful, colorful paintings like Rapunzel does in the film, or putting flowers in their hair, or that India even has a festival of lights, which we see in the lantern release in Tangled towards the end of the film. And all this is fine.
It's so funny how her only reference to Rapunzel is only the Disney version, which isn't accurate to the original source material. It's like as if they don't actually give about respect to the original source material. It's the same thing when it comes to Snow White, where the only representation is just the cartoon and nothing else. Ignoring the fact there's countless and countless of fake adaptations of the same stories. But do they actually care about it? No, they bloody don't.
And I understand why people are defending this fan cast, especially if you have different views when it comes to representation in films. So Rapunzel's features and characteristics are referenced several times throughout all of the classic iterations.
That's actually false. When it all is no, it's that yes, she has very long hair. That is it. That's literally the main character trait about her character that's important to this plot of the story. Her being white, blonde, gender, whatever, is irrelevant. It's what the fact she has long hair. That's the part in the whole like device of the actual story. Not her being white. It's the same with Snow White. She was only named because yes, she's white as snow, because she was pale, not because she's European or because she's a white person.
That we have of this story, and quite frankly, she's not an Indian woman. And many on the internet seem to be echoing this sentiment.
And oh my gosh, wait until we get to see this.
Here's a TikTok that got over 800,000 likes on the subject. It says, unpopular opinion, Rapunzel is a blonde white girl. Others are
false. That's completely is false, and it's not 100% accurate. And of course, if you bring up any adaptation, but no, she's not blonde, they don't give it that. It's the same when it comes to the Little Mermaid. And number two, the Little Mermaid doesn't have a name. She dies in the end of her own story. She never spoke a single word in the original source material. But do these people actually give enough about that stuff? No. Do they even know about that stuff? Still no, because they don't actually care. Oh no, that's a black woman in the role. That's when it's too far. Ignoring the fact that there's actual Asian people, Latino people, as well black people who've also been born ginger naturally, and some they still will have a complaint about that. Yes, that's an actual thing that does happen sometimes. Is it rare? 100% yes. Does not ignore the fact that it does happen. But of course, it does not follow the narrative that they have. And if remember to, they ignore the fact that once again, they were still represented because yes, they're ginger. No, it's not about the fact of being ginger or not. The issue is that they just want to be white, and their representation should matter. And that's it. Because remember, it's so funny how having a black woman, even though she's ginger in the movie, so oh my gosh, they take away ginger's representation. Ignore the fact that once again in the movie she's so ginger, and there's actual black ginger hair woman naturally that exists. Of course, we're not going to talk about that for some reason. Like what the F? But the same thing too is that these are the same people ignore the fact that once again, Ariel was not even accurate. When referring to Ariel in the cartoon, was taking away representation from blonde hair woman. But of course, would they care about that stuff? No, because they don't care. As long as you get to change a little part of it, as long as you're changing it and make it stay as a white person, it does not matter. And this is why I said when it comes to Romeo and Juliet and stuff, you're making them gnomes as long as they're white, it doesn't matter. If you're making a zombie version of it, it doesn't matter as long as they're white. Oh no, a black person, an Asian person, that's too far for some reason.
asking the question, if you think it's right to switch characters like Ariel and Rapunzel, why not switch characters like Jasmine or Tiana, who are people of color? Now, many argue that
No, because it's not the same thing. It's so funny. Whenever they do this nonsense, they always go out of the way to try to argue how race swapping characters is bad. And like, if you're race swapping, why don't you race swap characters when their identity is actually important for the story itself, as well to the actual character design, which is bloody important. Some of it's like, oh, well, if you're race swapping, Rapunzel, then you should definitely race swap Tiana. Ignore the fact that you shouldn't race swap Tiana at all, because once again, her race was actually important to the story itself. Crying out loud. Ignore the fact that it was actually relevant to the point. It was a plot device for the story. It was literally important for the setting that they were in. For crying bloody out loud. Some were not like legit. Some it's like I said, they're so open to take your representation from minorities or anyone that's not a straight white guy, but yet there's other way around. There's no, oh no, you're still our representation. How dare you?
the races and cultures of princesses like Tiana, Jasmine, and Pocahontas are more at the forefront of those stories. And
meaning that yes, their identity is literally part of their character creation as well important for the story. You're not gonna make a whole story about Pocahontas being a white woman getting colonized by British people. No, that's stupid. And affirming too, legit, the cartoon version of it is not even just whitewash, of course, but it's completely romanticized from the actual original story of what actually happened. Well, of course, are you just going to call it out to say how, oh yeah, it's disrespectful to the actual like history? No, they're going to talk about how is rewriting history when it actually is an example of rewriting history. Of course not. It's as small as rewriting history of actual real events to make white people look good. I'm sorry, you guys will be making an excuse for it. Oh no, having one person that is not white existing, that's too far.
That's harder to swap out. But there are very many white princesses with very clear and distinct backgrounds from certain countries, and thus it makes sense that they would have a particular look. And yes, a white one.
False. When it comes to most of these things are white based on convenience, not because it was important to the story itself. For crying out loud, and like I said, Snow White is a great blood example. Romeo and Juliet, a great blood example. Tangle, once again, a great example. And yet, none of them idea was, oh yeah, they're white, so it's very important to the plot. No, it's irrelevant. You can legit make a whole story of Romeo and Juliet, acknowledging racism and discrimination and so on and so forth on both sides, on both parties. Yes, you can make a story about that. Yeah. I believe it was Little Italy with I forgot the actor who played Anakin from the live action Star Wars movies. Literally, that story is just based off of Romeo and Juliet in a modern sense as well with the talents and so on and so forth. Seriously, and that exists. But oh no, they're white. It's okay for that to happen for some reason. Of course, is she gonna complain about that? No.
Now, as these new live actions come out, which they will come out eventually, I'm sure, I think there's going to be plenty of forced representation within these films. And
I'm sorry, if you think someone existing is forced, I'm sorry, you're telling on yourself. Crying out loud. Her playing a character is not forced. Someone being gay is not forced. Someone being black, Asian, whatever, or even a woman is not forced. And like, ask these idiots, what makes it forced? And they can't tell you. None of them can tell you because it's not forced. They know it's not forced. They're just being bigoted.
I think we can take it upon ourselves to aim our criticism towards the institutions and companies responsible for pushing that diversity in films and the people.
Shut. Oh my god, literally just arguing that, oh no, we should go our way, putting a lot of effort attacking the companies because they're pushing onto people. I'm sorry, them just saying, hey, let's treat non-white people as equal to white people. Let's treat people as people. Let's treat them as equal. That's a bad thing. We need to fight against the system for some reason. And then mind you, and if she wants to know why some people call her a white supremacist or a white supremacist dick rider, and some people like mine, in front of you, her audience want to know why people are calling her out for pandering towards actual Nazis. Oh yeah, we need to fight against the institution. They're advocating for treating people as freaking people and not discriminate against them, not doing segregation for crying out loud. Seriously, I don't hear people saying this nonsense, well, especially as a white boyfriend. No, that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter whether you have a white boyfriend or not. It's the fact you have this ridiculous belief in general that's stupid. And it's so funny, if people on the left said anything similar to this, saying, oh yeah, we need to stop the institution of, bigotry, white supremacy and stuff, which it still is a legit thing, I can see where it comes from. Of course, people like her is going to pretend, oh, that's not a thing, like, where's the institution, so and so, like, what? You really pretend it doesn't exist? But oh no, just saying, hey, let's treat, black people and white people as equals, so that's how we need to dismantle it. And you want to know why people call you out for being white supremacists?
Who are promoting that agenda and those
It's
narratives.
not an agenda.
Small for representation and telling diverse stories within films and media. Small for representation and telling diverse stories within films and media. But what that agenda and those narratives. Small for representation and telling diverse stories within films and media. But what that requires.
No, shut. You hear what she said? She's open for representation when it comes to Assassin's Creed. Mind you, an original story with an actual black figure that didn't exist and stuff. So she made a whole bit of how we should not have that for some reason. Even with an Asian woman in the game, we should not have that because she's a woman too. In this situation, she's also arguing that we're not allowed to have any representation at all and how we should dismantle it completely. You can't say that, yes, you're right. You can't say, oh, you're open for representation by actively arguing and saying out loud that we should dismantle representation and diversity.
To aim our criticism towards the institutions and companies responsible for pushing that diversity in films and the
So once again, you can't say this and then try to make this argument that you're for representation.
people who are promoting that agenda and those narratives. And telling diverse stories within films.
I did not cut that stuff out. She said that we should dismantle this nonsense. She literally just argued that point. And she said this.
Representation and telling diverse stories within films and media. But what that requires.
But yes, she says this while actively is arguing that we should not have it in general and we should dismantle it. So no, you're not actually for representation or diversity in media. You're the opposite. You constantly make it clear as day you don't support any of that stuff to begin with.
Is putting the story at the forefront of what you're working on rather than your own.
So they are. Your issue is that someone who's not white is existing. That's what I'm saying. I hate when they keep making this argument that just because you have like a woman existing or a black person, a gay person existing, you're not putting the story in the forefront. I mean, yes, they bloody are. With Tiana, they're making her identity be a part of the story because that's relevant to the actual story and the setting. That's relevant. Someone being white in the story is irrelevant unless they actually make it relevant and important to the story. That's what I'm saying. If you make a whole Romeo and Juliet story about racism and stuff with a mixed Asian woman with a white guy, yes, that's important on the story for both ends. But I'm sorry, the original story is irrelevant because once again, baby white has nothing to do with anything. Seriously, it literally has nothing to do with it. If they make like, let's say, a story of Romeo and Juliet, and one, like Romeo is Korean and Juliet is Japanese or Filipino, right? Yes, that's relevant to that story and why there was conflict. Seriously, that's relevant to that story. Having them both be Japanese, that's irrelevant to the story. That's the point. Like, your issue is that they are not white and existing. And trying to argue, oh, they're not being white, so you're not playing the story first. It's just you telling on yourself.
political agenda or personal opinions about representation in film. It very much
I'm sorry, having someone that's not white and existing is not pushing an agenda.
forced. It very much feels
It's
like
not
the
forced.
story is now a secondary thought.
It's not. But mind you, she's telling on
It
herself.
should be the primary thought. And when you're actually good at telling a great story, you won't have to do that at the expense of the original depictions of the characters.
So mind you, once again, there's been infinite for adaptation, and there's still going to be more adaptations of the original story. And yet, they're not going to be 100% accurate because guess what? They're going to have their own differences to improve the story or change the story a bit to do something new and different. For crying out loud, but do you actually care about that? No, you don't. This is why I brought up with Romeo and Juliet as a perfect example because this is a popular trope in media. Of course, does she actually care about this stuff? No, she doesn't. And so, remember all this stuff, right? I don't even need to finish the rest of it. This is the things too. We have dumb concepts like this, just telling on themselves, literally telling on themselves. There's this fake idea that, oh my gosh, I'm okay, I'll take away representation of minorities, but my representation matters. I'm sorry, yes, you're telling on yourself, and no, you are the issue and why it's being talked about. This is why representation is literally advocated for. Now, it's advocated for crying out loud. Seriously. And it's so funny how this person is out here openly is talking about the fact that they're pro taking away representation from other people and argue how their representation is the only thing that matters. Is that if you're not calling you dumb, it's because you're a bigot and nothing else. Let's continue. Let's just continue, right? Let's just continue. Let's just let it continue. Now, in another comment, just telling on himself with a whole nonsense of, well, I think that they should make a, a new character based on the experiences that not white people have. Wait, they do that, and you still complain about that. And like so with Assassin's Creed Shadows, once again, they were doing that, and y'all complain about that because it did not have a white person being the only focus of the game, and that was your issue. Seriously. And I hate when they keep making claims of, oh, I would love to see a Disney film with an African American with their own original story. When that's a flat out lie. Once again, Ironheart, Miles Morales, or anything else, if it's not a race swap, I'm sorry, they still would not like the character at all, regardless, because they're not white. So this is a flat out lie. And let's be honest, these days, I've never watched Princess of the Frog either, right? Because they don't actually like it. And then we have this, like a comment like this, pointing something, oh, something I didn't even know about until I looked up, and it turns out they were actually true. But you say, well, Amala pointed stuff out, acknowledging that, hey, she was a hypocrite and she's wrong. No, heck, if you bring up like Power Rangers as an example, the movie and the TV show, are you going to hear her complain about that stuff? No, of course not. Of course not. Especially if you bring up the original source material, of course, she's not going to say a single thing about that either, because she doesn't actually care about it. Like, if you bring up any characters that were whitewashed from Japanese media or anything like that, casting a white person in Asian makeup to make them present as an Asian stereotyping, or turning an Asian character into a white character, will you hear them complain about that stuff? No, you won't hear them say a single thing, because that is exactly what they support and what they're asking for. Instead, seriously. It's just so embarrassing for crying out loud. It's just so embarrassing because they're telling themselves exactly what they're doing. They literally are telling themselves, seriously. And Mike, just so we should point out the fact that yes, she was brunette for crying out loud. Seriously. I know it's for the movie. It's for the bloody movie. But do these people care? No. And I brought this up right here as an example. Yeah, the whole flight itself, yes, it's not 100% accurate. We have people like Rapunzel as an example. Yes, it's not accurate at all. Legit, even with the magical hair as an example, seriously. The whole point about her hair is that it's long, not magical or it changed, colors or anything like that. But no, do these people actually care about respect the original source material? No, they only care about if you are just pushing something that they like and that's it. And you have like the Wikipedia as an example showing you different depictions of the story as well too. Do they actually care? No, 100% no. They never once actually care about respect anything. Oh, they never did. Like, you have a live adaptation of it, in animated TV media and stuff, so on and so forth. Like, literally. And then the first two as an example I want to bring up is Once Upon a Time. Like, literally. Like, literally, a whole, like, Disney product where they reimagine almost all of the Disney characters. We have, like, let's say, Peter Pan being a son of another iconic Disney character from different, like, story and stuff, and try to add as that, his father and son relationship and stuff. I'm sorry, what the F? But, of course, are they going to talk about that stuff? 100% no. You have an example like this and stuff, or an example like this as well. Do they care? No. Of course not. They don't actually care about this stuff. Seriously. Like, let's just look through it, right? Let's just look through the characters. Once again, Cruella de Vil, Queen Tiana, for crying out loud. Seriously. You have all these characters. You get Elsa, a newest character at the time. Peter Pan, Mulan, Alice, Zelina, sorry, I can't pronounce, I'm so sorry. Robin Hood as an example, and Hook. All of these things exist. All of these things. Heck, we can go with Disney Descendants as an example too. Like, that's even a better example. Let me just bring it up right here. Here we go. Wait, once again, these are kids of the original theme. Legit. You have Mel being the daughter of Hades and Maleficent, right? Legit, the daughter. Right, these two different stories. In Hercules, the original story, but the Disney is not nowhere close to the original story when it comes to the mythology itself. Of course, do you idiots actually give an F? No, you don't. Heck, when it comes to like Thor as an example in any adaptation, they're never accurate to the original comic book run interpretation. And don't cry about the whole, well, it's multi-universe. Exactly the point. For all of these products in adaptation is the same exact thing. It works the same way. But you know what's even funny is that the original Thor in the comics is nowhere close to the actual mythology. When Thor is overweight as well, he's ginger, and his hammer is a lot smaller. Of course, you guys actually care about that stuff. No, you don't. And you know how inaccurate like this whole thing is nowhere close to the original source material? A lot. 100% a lot for crying out loud. There's two Cinderellas. Yeah, two different Cinderellas for crying out loud. Let's just continue as an example. Let's just continue. You have all of these things here, right? And let's continue. The original, can't talk. The original, not Cinderella, frick. Rapunzel, the original version of her. And her story came before the Grimm brother version of it. It came before it. Seriously. All this stuff came before it. It literally came all the way before it for crying out loud. Seriously. Publish it date 10/10. Seriously. Came all the way before the Grimm brothers even had the chance to even write the book. Now he's like, is it coincidence? In my opinion, yes. Now, is it whitewashing? You can make an argument for that. I get that. I still think it's a coincidence. But let's be honest. It's so funny how when it's taking the story from another culture and making it about a white person doing it, so that gets a pass for some reason. Mind you, when it comes to Yasuke and William Adams, right? They have very similar stories, and that's fine. The problem though is how Yasuke, when his story was accurate at least, these people were crying complaining about it, but yet when it comes to William Adams, that get praised. Even though William Adams was less of a hero basically in the actual story. But remember too, when it comes to Brett Cooper, when she acknowledged she liked everything about Yasuke's story, whatever, but her problem was just him being black. And they cried about the fact of why she's liking it because it reminds her of Shogun, a completely whitewashed story of William Adams, like legit having him being the white savior and stuff. And that adaptation was an adaptation of that part of an adaptation of the actual book, which is the definition of an actual white savior complex story. Of course, is she going to say anything? No, because it aligns with what she wants it to be. That's why it's showing a depiction of Japan that she already had a point of view of, a fetishized idea, not a respectable view of it. So once again, why should we take her and these people seriously when they're out here telling on themselves way too much? So now let me bring this part up as an example, right? You have this idiot just being flat racist. Now let's actually watch her original video.
The first time I experienced racism, I was 12 years old. I was sitting on the bus and someone said to me, hey, so are you 7-Eleven Brown or 9-11 Brown? If you're sure soul to myself, you might be wondering what you mean by that. They're saying, are you 7-Eleven Brown like how works at a convenience store? Or are you 9-11 Brown like doing carries out the terrorism of September 11th? All these stuff I know, and I would see color. So I said, I'm this type of brown. A lesbian tattoo? What? No. It cannot. Throughout my life, I've made racialized comments about being Indian. People would say to me, why do you smell like curry? There you are, so hairy. Why is your face like a Listerine in my medicine cabinet? One time my other friend saw a picture in the face at school because he went like this to his forehead to call me butthead. He told my brother, I had to hit him. I'm just so offended that he called me Indian. I'm Persian. Age of Indians is especially popular on Twitter. For years, the right claimed that they were censored because they feel the truth so powerful that the institutions fear it. So when you went on Twitter and promised free speech, I was all ears. But truth bombs is the mainstream media so afraid of. Hispanics have a few redeeming qualities. Indians have literally none. They're human cockroaches. Why do Indians literally resemble cockroaches? If you spot a single cockroach in your kitchen, you know there are probably more coming. That's the best way.
Mind you, these are actual things that exist, but of course people like Tim Berners-Lee will be defending these things, making excuses. People like Greg or Amala Abenobi will try to argue how this is not racist because they said so, when in reality they know it's racist because they feel this way, they believe this stuff, and two, they're supporting white supremacists that obviously are going to be treating them nasty.
I describe them Indians immigrate to the US. Look man, I don't want stereotypes to be true, okay? However, every Indian I've met to work smells like I haven't showered in their entire life. Being an expert right now from India is literally abusive. They can
And mind you, that's what? Yes, same type of audience, same type of people.
The rest of the voice is silent majority, so he now will finally see the truth. And by the way, the odor is intentional. If you're smelling it, you can see why the pepper rings pretty makes sense. Oh, here's a nice one. I know many Indians are smelly antisocial succulents, but many are genuinely very kind people. I often shop at my local Indian market for very cheap specialty items, and the ladies always give me massive discounts. Give them free stuff. Why do I think people are being racist toward Indians? Because they know they can't fight. So they're not for racism when people want to chips in and don't want to smoke from black person and grass. So what they do is after souls them with scripts trophy. I also think it's more Indians in politics lately, and this change makes some people uncomfortable. So they have to invent reasons to say that Indians are American. Like with the veteran Swami and barefoot for a national interview. Did nobody tell the fact that we also
Yes, this is an actual Nazi account for crying out loud. I've seen this guy on like countless of stuff. He's just straight disgusting.
bare feet in America. The veteran Swami looks disgusting. Naked brown feet exposed. Wolverine for governor in Ohio. Very, very disrespectful. I just saw the
Mind you, remember this. Remember this. This guy right here. Yes, the same guy that has pandered and sold his own community for white supremacists, the same white slave masters. And guess what? They're showing their true intentions that yes, they never actually liked him. They just use it as an excuse for them to be racist. And it's the same thing when it comes to Amala and Greg or the black conservative or Amir. Once again, they can use how many times wherever, right? They can talk about, oh, I'm black, so I should be being passed. Please accept me. They're not going to accept you. They will use you as a justification. With Brett Cooper. Like she's trying to push this idea that Amir is, her gay black friend, best friend and stuff. In reality, no, they're not best friends. Crying out loud. If you watch I forgot what's the name. I forgot that one scene. I forgot. But that's exactly how Amir is towards her. Not a friend, but you know what? Nothing else. A house, you know what? And that's it. That's exactly what the relationship that they have. They might think it's genuine, but in reality, it's not. It's 100% was not. She used it as an excuse to push more racism, which is why, yes, she used it kind of as an excuse to be racist towards black people about Assassin's Creed, a game she has no interest in, and she's not a gamer. Of course, you call this out, and you have their dick suckers making any excuse to justify it. Of course, they go start hiring a bunch of black people to be DI hires to justify their own bigotry.
Look, I've seen on my timeline so many times that I'm take a shower. I made a sleep in there. Disgusting. How could his judgment be so bad? He tries to blend in with Americans, but can't help but cheat out. He needs to go back. Total
Remember, these are the people that he's pandering to. He's trying to get their approval.
Alright, yes. Martin Luther King Jr. once said dream. Here's what barefoot the devil play. He was butter chicken. For all the criticisms that Indians don't practice good hygiene. I don't understand so ordinarily offending wearing shoes in the house. Indians live as shit. So do you. You trust people that in your living room. Bashing Indians can also be a way to earn your stripes with white nationalists. If you're a self-hating woman.
Yeah, and wait till we get to like why I'm bringing this stuff up. Let me just like skip this ad, right?
Okay, Korean.
Yes.
Self-hating Sudanese man. That's right. Myron Baines hosted the Fresh and Fit podcast, who built his fame off sympathizing with men who struggle in the day marketplace. Now measures the racial war that statistically struggles the most in the day marketplace.
And this is a common thing. So when you have dumb idiots like Greg, Amala, Amir, all of these people, yes, this is exactly what people are calling out. And remember this. Remember all of this as an example. This is exactly what ContraPoints was talking about. Mind you, Blair White, Ariel, Amir, you all are doing this right here. You're literally are pandering and grifting towards people who don't view you as people. Seriously.
Bashing Indians can also be a way to earn your stripes with white nationalists. If you're a self-hating woman.
Yes, and mind you, what's so funny with this woman? She's an actual, not even just like a white nationalist or supremacist, not just that. She's the definition of an actual Nazi who tries way too hard at being so. Of course, she only views racism and only view racism being bad only when it happens to white people. Of course, she's the definition of a professional victim, but yet only be the offender. This is like one of her own
Wouldn't
takes.
date a guy who worked at McDonald's and had no ambitions?
That's just because like.
Is it because he's black?
No.
What?
You wouldn't date a guy.
Yes, mind you, that was an actual take that she made. That's not even me making stuff up. That was an actual take that she made. So let's go to the actual clip itself.
The Waffle House has these women to be able to demanding like a 5-star restaurant for the first date, that sort of thing. So thinking, okay, every woman wants you to pay to get her time attention, and like, oh, then girl, serve only $20. Like, well, then that's why people offer that. You just want to dress something. I think for a lot of men, they basically go, okay, you see me as a Walgreens ATM. I see you as a and it's transactional. Well,
So you wouldn't date a guy who worked at McDonald's and had no ambitions?
That's just because like I have.
Is it because he's black?
No.
No, seriously, in what way is a person being black has anything to do with it? Men being black is irrelevant. It could be white, black, Asian, whatever. She will still have the same exact pain about the guy because it's about merit. But no, her issue is that she needs to find for any excuse just to say something, not even out of pocket. If someone like saying something out of pocket, and someone just say unhinged nonsense for no legit reason. Like, is she racist? 100%. Please, she forces stuff way too hard. Where it's like she has nothing better to do, and she's trying to use the whole of, oh yeah, I'm a comedian. No, you're not. You're a failed comedian that no one actually likes your jokes. The only reason you're going to be laughing at jokes is how uncomfortable they are. Or two, they're agreeing with you because yes, they're racist too, and nothing else.
No.
So thank you.
And of course, her saying very racist stuff. Someone she's trying to use humor as an excuse when it doesn't work as an excuse. It never works.
Wait.
Yeah, you just have Pitman Girl who also has OnlyFans. Using her as your source when it's not a good source. Homie, you were trying to argue that SHO does not make anything better. It was still racist regardless. I'm like, this is a common pattern that she constantly does for no legit reason, mind you, for no actual reason.
Being racist is a sign of intelligence.
Racism.
Yes, he actually said that. There's no, like, I'm not even anything. These are the clips from our own channels. The fact that you're trying to make this argument that being racist is a sign of intelligence. I'm sorry. You're showing the fact that you're not an intelligent person. No, it isn't. And like, you call all this stuff out, and you have dumb kids like, right, we're trying to argue, oh, this is not racism. You have people like Kamala trying to argue, oh, this is not proof that racism exists. Trust me, bro. When yes, it is.
Back in my day, we called it pattern recognition.
Racism is
And
love-based.
Being racist is a sign of intelligence.
Racism back in my
like, none of the stuff is even funny at all in any sense of form. And like, when it comes to this situation, yes, her issue is that yes, she thinks Carmelo is a thief. In front of you, she was spreading false information about what happened for crying out loud, about how he bought a home and stuff when that's completely false. It was already debunked immediately, and rightfully so. And they denied the whole doxing situation, so on and so forth. But trying to push this argument that this and this is a sign that white people are being attacked. Because somehow white people are the only form of people that can go through racism and discrimination when that's not true in any sense of form. That's not accurate at all. Racism is racism regardless how you like it, and that's it. Seriously. Of course, this woman is not even doing good job. In front of you, if you go on her Twitter, it's not any better in any sense of form. It really, really, really is any better.
Oh, they're black. Those black people. Those are Chinese people. Let's go. What N-word means and then in Chinese.
It's so funny how like they're making an excuse just for actual racism, but only sees racism be bad when it happens for them.
I think Chinese people are racist. I think they're.
And this is why
Yeah, they think Chinese people are racist only when it benefits them.
like Chinese people on the show.
I love the Chinese people. When they take over America, I'm going to blend in. Not just blend right in.
Like, racism is a part of reality.
I think it's part of
I think it's a natural thing that's happened with neighbors. Some people in color community, like, who fucking know who this is? They don't racism is
Mind you, and yet they have sourced them, and they're out here pretending to be victims. But yet, the main reason why they're not to care about this BS and trying to find any justification for it because yes, they're racist themselves.
I think racism is love-based.
No, it's not. It's not love based.
Based on the love of your own people.
No, it's not. That's just you being a freaking Nazi.
Wanting to defend them against somebody you don't necessarily think is going to have that interest.
Yeah, love based to the point you're willing to kill your own people. You're willing to throw your own people under the bus because you don't see other people that don't look like you as people. That's not love based. You're just a bigot. Racism has no love in it. It's just you hating people because they don't look like you. That's not love. There's no love behind it.
The more racist you are, the more love you have for your people.
No, it doesn't.
And we can put that in a clip, and we're going to promote that. That is what the show is about.
Also,
Love your people, be racist.
And yet, Mike, there's actually people who are in the comments legit flat agreeing with this type of nonsense. Of course, it's not even that surprising. And yet, you have people like Amala defending this woman instead of only up to like, yeah, this behavior is not justified, it's completely disgusting, or anything like that. No, you have all these people who are making clear that yes, they support this behavior.
I keep that
So
word.
love your people. I like I started before you started screaming podcast.
White is out. So
Children.
I keep that word. Black is white way here, the black way there, the white way here. It's pattern seeking. Technically, being
No, it's
racist is a
not.
sign of intelligence.
No, like mind you, no, it bloody isn't.
Has some intelligence.
Yeah,
No, it's not.
Yeah, racism back in my day, we called pattern recognition.
I knew our granddaddy was on some.
And it was funny, these are the same exact people that would shame fat people for existing and try to argue that they're unhealthy. But you have them smoking, vaping, drinking. Like, legit, a dude that's actually is overweight for crying out loud. The drink is so they're drinking like legit drinks that are not good for them and stuff. And yet, they are the same exact people that would be shaming fat people for existing. Make it make sense. Like seriously, you have all these things that are right here out in the open for everyone to see. And yes, she also told us that she's not gonna vote for him because yes, he's not white. And number two is it continues.
Or a self-hating Sudanese fan. That's right. Myron Dane, who's a fresh into podcast, who built his fame off sympathizing with men who struggle in the dating marketplace. Now that's just the racial group that statistically struggles the most in the dating marketplace. Well, that's pretty hypocritical of him. No, it's not. Because the men here never cared about women. You were just a cop for them to shit on women. But as soon as they get the chance to kindly offer points with white supremacists, they will forfeit that group loyalty to the boys every time. Touch you up based on no reputable identities and sell you for parts.
And the main reason why I'm using this video is to make a great example for Sky and why I have to disagree with the video. And I found this video after Sky made a video. Like after my first recording, I found this video because the Nazi I told you before made a response to it that I just found recently and stuff. And that's why I bring this up, which is why I'm doing the whole recording to make a point. And the funny part too is like she's still correct about this. And the funny part too, this is exactly what ContraPoints was talking about, of course.
Their reward, they foster value that tells them, where you look at dirty ass and yourself. Really this. Why is it that the people who talk the most about American values and modern degeneracy are now bullying the racial group, least likely to commit crime, least likely to be sexually promiscuous, most likely to earn degrees, and most likely to work top jobs? Wouldn't that make this group the highest embodiment of American values? And it's because these dumbasses end up actually anything by phrases American values, degeneracy, or assimilation. It's just a way to wear a hood without messing up your hair. I don't like Indians, you know Indians. Honestly, I use microaggressions. Remember those? They weren't so bad. Bring back asking people of color, where are you really from? People say this is microaggressive because nobody asks that question to white people. Honestly, I think that's for white people because it's like nobody gives a fuck if your family stays healthy. I shut the fuck up and sit down. A third generation patient speaking. They also consider microaggressive because the brown person whether the parents want them to get arranged marriage. It's not. They do. My mother consistently sends me profiles of 3-year-old men who still live in their childhood bedroom. Not because
Once again, she's selling jokes.
because of tradition. So you're not microaggressive, you're clairvoyant. Keep going.
Once again, a joke.
Someone gonna die. We also bring back cultural appropriation. People trade you like Nessa Hodges wear big deal Coachella without turning out think pieces calling her a colonizer. And it's
Once again, a joke.
please grant her birthright H1Bs. I know you make stealing jobs from Americans, but I promise you, I'll take better left in the hand of the country that answers my questions. Versus the one that's a copy off in the past yes no one.
So then I will ask. Okay.
Even sometimes we passing as me, I have seen Indian racism online. Okay, Kumar. If her parents are right here, she's sleeping in couch with no rights. You know what I mean?
And that was the clip. It was about the fact that yes, she's white passing, and yet she still get ridiculous amount of racism for no valid reason. And that's the point. That is exactly what the scene was talking about. Of course, what does this idiot do? They remove that context of what she was talking about to just get to this part. This is justified and go in defense on why they're being racist. It's not about actual respect to people. No, they're just Nazis and nothing else.
Mom.
It's the big summer sale. Shop
Oh my gosh, I'm skipping this. I don't care.
I got a racist comment. You want to hear it? If her parents did not immigrate here, she would be sleeping in couch bed with no rights. The irony. In couch bed with no rights. The irony. Is that true? They're saying if I was still in India with you, we'd be sleeping with cows and shit, but you didn't have cows in your house, right?
Yes, but here's the thing. Were they sleeping in the pink matter to poop in the bed? No.
This overlying and Indian racism. Hopefully, it'll debunk Indian pygmies who bandwagon onto anti-black racism. I'm strictly thinking that they were trying to because right from the
And once again, that was her point. But of course, the idiots removed the full context and just talked over her, used to justify their own racism. And like, this is from their own Instagram account. And even if you showed the full clip, it does not make anything better at all to begin with.
praising Indians as model minority and black people, and now these people have turned on us for the role. Division made Crystal for the decade, praising Indians as model minority and black people, and now these people have turned on us for the role.
And mind you, it's the same situation when it comes to Asian people. And definitely, I thought this multiple times in the original recording. But the thing is, because of this video, it helped me out to get my point across even more to prove the fact that no, this happens towards a lot of other things. When it comes to Latinos and black people, they're viewed like not as a model minority. But Asian people and Middle Eastern people, whatever, no, they're being seen as a model minority because they think they're one of the good ones, but they don't actually respect them at all. It's just, oh hey, they do things that we like, but we don't like them regardless. And that's it. It's the same thing of like, excuse me. It's the same thing of like pretending that you don't hate black people because you have a house slave. It's that type of nonsense. You don't actually view that so-called house slave as a person. You just view them as an object and nothing else. That does not make you not racist.
It should make it crystal clear to my kid that racists will never like you, no matter how many trophies you win. Why? Because they're racist. I actually don't just like.
And that's the point. And that's the point. So yes, we have people like Sean trying to push this argument of, oh, I'm not misogynistic. I have 40% of my audience. Yeah, sure. Like 40% of people who pretend to be females, and for the other part of it, a bunch of women who are pick-me girls who don't actually like other women too, or right-wingers as well. That's not a good flex. As well, some of those girls might be hate watching you to prove a point against you. So once again, it's not even a good example either. So what the f are you even talking about? This whole argument of, oh, I'm not racist. Like Mace Windu. No, you don't. That does not make you not racist. It still will prove that you are racist.
Indians, they've been nothing but pleasant to me on the anecdotal level. I just enjoy the comedy of culture roasting. What a little bitch. If you're to walk through for white nationalists, and these have to also swallow. These pussies want to be too. They were the revolutionaries of our time, getting the matrix, and then toss them to followers of color. Then suddenly they're just silly little trolls who take things so seriously. They claim to be.
And this is why I said when it comes to Greg, when it was the Romeo and Juliet situation, he was jumping through hoops looking for any excuse to justify actual racism. And when he proves that yes, it is racism, he's trying to argue, oh, this does not show us anything. Yes, it does. You know, he needs to be in denial mode instead of owning up to the fact of what is actually what's going on.
Red pill. There's going to be on the pushback. But then it's just red body there. Don't keep running into it. Pussy ass bitch. How do I think against response to device racism? They shouldn't. Responding to culture wars trying to fool people like me. This is culture right here. Keep your head down, working, enjoying life. You have better things to do. I don't. This is a mango lesson.
So yeah, so I do suggest like watching the rest of the video, fine. And now, like so when it comes to like stuff like this as an example, we see Amela crying about this. No, and it was funny. Very charming. Legit, in this story was an Asian guy. Shout out to my Asian brothers, okay? Shout out to my Asian brothers out there. Alright, love you. No heterosexual on that. But no, seriously, still. Yeah, shout out to my Asian brothers out there, you know, shout out to your representation. Instead of having it to be a freaking another cliche stereotype of nerd or playing a doctor, they actually have him being the prince of the story and stuff. Good. Can I say like just good? And for to do version of Cinderella in the Descendants movies, of course. And for number two, it was fine, regardless. I don't care. I haven't watched any of the Descendants movies in a long time. But for number two, they spent countless of stories of Cinderella. Countless and countless and countless and countless and countless of stories of Cinderella. And yeah, they're all fine. Basically, we'll be crying complaining about her being black. But yeah, because Asian people, yes, you have half of them complaining that yes, he's Asian, but the other half will be out here making an excuse because they've seen them as a minority and nothing else. Because yes, they see them with a white supremacist point of view, which is why you have a lot of white supremacists like anime for no legit reason and just complete unhinged. And you have another story with Selena Gomez, who's supposed to be Latina and stuff, right? And guess what? It's set place in another time in modern era. Of course, do they actually give them about this stuff? No. Are they going to complain about it? Still no. They don't care because they never watch it, they don't understand it, or anything like that. And that's it. You know how many stories about Cinderella that exist? A lot. I mean, a lot of stories of Cinderella. I mean, a lot of it. And now there are going to be a one for one or an accurate depiction of it. You have one with blonde hair, one that isn't blonde, so on and so forth. You got these versions. You got the iconic. I think that was Hilary Duff. I could be wrong. Yeah, you got the girl from that one girl band, of course. You got the baby girl over here. Like, nah, what's up? And you got all these stories that are literally just like the same story, but have been like tweaked a bit, a lot. It, once again, Once Upon a Time is a great example too. Again, and let's say with this version, like Cinderella and you know the prince and stuff. Like all these things existed for a very, 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 very long time. Like very long time. And this movie over here, Rags, another story for crying out loud. Another story, another Cinderella story. Seriously. Like seriously, like literally another story. They have another one right here as an example. Beauty and the Beast, right? Countless of interpretations of it, countless of adaptations of the story for crying out loud. Like one with I believe she was mixed Asian, I could be wrong. I might misread it. The things here's are countless of it, like versions of the same exact stories in history. And this is not new, this is not surprising, nor is a bad thing. But of course, would these people care about this stuff? Because most of these people have never watched this stuff. They don't care about this stuff, they don't look into it, they don't read it, and so on and so forth. And most of these people will make any excuse to justify as long as a white person involved with it, or they will try to make any excuse doubling down on it because yes, it'll bring it up. Because like let's say if you bring up like one of the stories from like 1998, right? And you bring it up as an example, you have some of them which try to argue that it's woke. But they try to push the idea that oh it was beloved. But yeah, it is happened today, it should not be beloved for some reason. Because the issue is that they can't touch anything that happened like a few years ago. Because yes, it makes them look like a chump and nothing else. They'll be out here being flat out racist, but they're being so much of a coward instead of owning up to the fact of what they're doing is bad faith. And they know it too, which is why of course that like cowards and nothing else. Like there's nothing of merit behind it. Oh yeah, that's why it holds every video. Oh yeah, here it is. Once again, countless of Snow White adaptations that existed. Seriously, countless and countless of adaptations that existed. All of these things. Literally, a Japanese version of it for crying out loud. All these things existed. We did a horror movie theme of it, a R-rated version of it. But Mike, are these people gonna cry about it? No, of course not, because they don't care about the stuff. And two, they never saw it before either. Seriously, as long as it's white, they don't actually give it enough. Or they don't watch it, they don't give it enough. Or if it's old, they don't care. In anime, they literally use the idea of the story. Seriously, Sophia the First, for crying out loud. Descendants, Avengers Grimm's. Legit. Imagine the Avengers, but with the Grimm brothers like characters, just being like the Avengers of the the MCU basically. That's pretty much it. But we can continue with like the Beauty and the Beast as an example. All of these things, they all existed. All these things existed. But do they care? No, of course not. And once again, we already got the Snow White part already. And then with the whole like Cinderella, oh my freaking gosh, God, down the way. Then of course with the Cinderella situation, of course, it's the same thing as well. And like there's many more. So like I said, do these two actually give it F out respect to source material? No, of course not. Sorry, I had to get my shakes. In all seriousness though. So with all of that ranting that I was doing, it was a proof of point. It's like Scott, you're not helping anyone, like you're not helping yourself in any shape or form. You literally are just proving like you're proving a lot of people's point were correct about you and what you were doing. Hmm. Like you literally prove like a lot of people's points. So when it comes to like Airrick Debunks, most of my take that I had before in the first video, I'm still holding value to it. The issue is that you're literally proving his point that you're being a pygmy. You're pandering towards the people that don't see you as a person. They just use it as an excuse just to justify their own homophobia. So we have people in the comments where no, they're making clear say that yes, they're homophobic, and they're just agreeing with you as a justification for them to be homophobic towards other gay people. And when you're using sources from an actual Nazi and actual white supremacist who's blatantly is homophobic and racist and stuff, who's going out his way going to these events looking for these type of like things to clip, not just clip it, to like get content farming basically to get certain clips to push a false narrative about gay people and stuff. Yeah, it's clear that these are not the people you should be using as your source and they're pandering to.
People are going to say something. It doesn't matter if the person who's saying that is gay. It would be just as much.
Even though the issue is literally just that. Mind you, the issue is them being gay. That is the problem. If they were straight people, this idiot would not say a single thing about left and less, unless they're like left leaning, then he would say something. But if they are like gay, no, it doesn't matter whether they're conservative or not. This idiot would go to these events looking for people like this existing, and that's it. In my opinion, there's people, like I said before, there's people who are in the gay community or the LGBT community that are literally are doing stuff like this. Of course, they do exist and they should be called out, and that's my point with Airrick Debunks. But let's not pretend that bad people like this exist who go out of the way and look for content like this to push to the audience, to push the false rhetoric. Because yes, that's the point. They're not calling someone this person out for what they're doing is being wrong. That's not the point. They're going out of the way to look for this type of stuff to push to their viewers, and that's the problem. With me, I could go on my way to argue how like people like this person here, yes, what they do is wrong. I don't give an F whether they're gay or not. And that's why I brought up as an example of people like him at the Unlock Convention, because I don't give an F whether you're gay, straight, woman, man, I don't care. It's like it's inappropriate regardless of who you are. Why are you doing that? For crying out loud. And that was my point, that you have people that have a certain fetish that just use the LT community as an excuse to justify their own nonsense, of course. And of course, we have bad people like this who want to find people like this existing to push a false rhetoric about people. It does not help the cause. And this is why I said when it comes to Airrick Debunks, you should call these people out too and stop pretending that it doesn't exist.
But an issue with the person saying it was straight. The difference is that gay people already have a stereotype of being sexual deviants. So
And yes, they're using this guy who's going to these events, looking for these people who are following the stereotypes. He's not calling these people out for bad behaviors. He's going to follow the stereotype, the people who are following the stereotype, to push it to his viewers, right wingers, to push it to like this whole audience. Of, hey, all gay people are like this. Take my word for it. And that's his whole shtick. And yet, you're using this guy as your source, and you don't see this is a bad idea.
yeah, he already judges about an issue with the person saying it was straight. The difference is that gay people already have a stereotype of being sexual deviants. So when stuff like this gets portrayed in media, it reinforces all the
Yeah, but who's portraying it? I know there's people in the community who are literally portraying themselves this way, and that's their own fault. Yes, but who's pushing it? I'm pushing it and portraying it. It's people like this guy. He's going to these places and looking for people like this. Yeah, people like this who are portraying themselves this way, and yes, they should be held accountable. But this guy is going to these events looking for people like him existing on purpose to portray to the media that this applies to all gay people. Mind you, in this scene, he's the only one dressing this way, where everyone else are not acting that way. See, yes, of all this crowd, he found this one person that pushed the rhetoric that follows the agenda that he wants to push. And same with this person here. Mind you, in this scene, they don't dress the same. There's the only person in a furry outfit. But yet he went out his way and looking for people like that person in the video to push a false rhetoric. In this scene, right here, as an example, you have a crew of people, not over here, and right here, going down the runway, literally are acting this way. Yes, that's their own fault. But at the same time, to push this idea or argument that this applies towards all gay people. And it's not even them, it's the people who are trying to push that false rhetoric as well. That is the people that we're talking about.
stereotypes. There's gotta be people within the LGBT community calling this type of stuff out so that the public can be aware that this type of behavior isn't something that's supported by the entire community.
I agree with that, but the problem though, that's not going to work all the time. Because even if you do so like that, problem though, it is like this does not, they do not care. Because you can have like people like Blair White saying, hey, yeah, this is inappropriate. This idiot does not care. They will go out of the way to push this idea that yes, this is how all LGBT people are like. For crying out loud, yeah, the majority of pedophiles who are not even gay or part of the LGBT community, they're just pedophiles, regardless, because it doesn't matter which sexuality or gender you are, they're a pedophile at the end of the day. The problem though too is about the fact they don't care. That's why when it comes to Brett Cooper or Think Before Sleep, they don't care who's a pedophile. It's about who's gay, and that's it. It's about who gets to fit the certain narrative in the agenda, and that's it, nothing else. When it comes to Dr. Disrespect, who's clearly admitted to what he did, but trying to make an excuse for what he did. Guess what? Yeah, Brett Cooper denying it or making an excuse for why what happened was not that serious. Yeah. And you got people like Think First who literally is out here, not gonna say justifying it, like he was downplaying it to make excuses to defend him, of course. And yet, these things were happening solely because Dr. Disrespect was a straight white guy doing it, and he admitted into doing it. Like, yet, when it comes to Chris Tyson as an example, and he was guilty for doing these things before becoming trans. These people had nothing to say about that stuff, but solely because Chris became part of the LGBT community, now they are to push this false rhetoric that he's a pedophile for no legit reason except for them being trans, and using things that they did in the past as if that has ties to them being transgender, but it legit doesn't. And that's the problem we're talking about. Was Chris Tyson, like, yes, what he did is wrong, but it's because of them being part of the LGBTQ, being part of the LGBT community being the reason of why they're doing it? No, that's not it. Them being trans, whatever, has nothing to do with them being pedophilic or anything like that. That's irrelevant for crying out loud, because it shouldn't matter at all. It's about the actress itself. But the problem too, these things were happening before he came out. And yet, none of these people, Brett Cooper, Think First Sleep, they said nothing about this stuff at all. Because it didn't follow the narrative that they want to push, and this is what we're talking about. So you got people like this, it doesn't matter whether or not you're in the wrong or not. If you're part of the rhetoric that they want to push, they're going to use you.
A lot of LGBT conservative creators aren't even that conservative when you listen to their viewpoints. They're
That's false. And this is why you have some people calling you out for being a pick me, because you deny this idea that yes, they are being conservative and stuff. They make clear that yeah, Amir, he is conservative. He make it know that he's right wing. You have Blair White, who's doing the same thing too. Pushing this fake news approach of politically homeless, but then she's out here making any justifications for right wingers doing nasty stuff and doesn't criticize them the same way when it comes to people on the left. She openly to throw gay people and trans people under the bus. But yet her own community, like when it comes to people, who are on the right, she's not saying a single thing against them unless it's for a little jab, but not having the same exact energy, of course. And this is why over the years, like people like me are stop watching her because yes, she's being a hypocrite. She is biased, of course. She is being like showing double standards, of course. She's not being consistent with her own beliefs and her own takes, and that is why she deserves to get a lot more criticism nowadays. When it comes to Eros Garcella, yeah, no, she's not actually debunking anyone else. She just proved a lot of her haters and critics points to be correct. And if number two, you're doing the same thing as well.
really just not moderate or center right leaning. It's just that
Not true. And two, if they're center right leaning, then yes, they're right leaning.
you disagree with left, you get ostracized and labeled as a homophobic, self-hating, vacuum-thinking, richer Republican.
No, the problem though is yes and mostly no. You're gonna have times, especially like a few years ago, that is the case. Nowadays, that's not the case, but a lot of the times it is because yes, they are those things. And especially turns out they will be Republican or right leaning.
Certain parts of conservative media that we see more and more queer people occupying, which is the conservative queer influencer. And it's like, think the mask is really big.
Okay, there's way too much like funding. There's way too much. Stop that.
So the fact that queer people can't occupy these conservative spaces and amass a large audience just proves that there is growing acceptance on the right for
No, it isn't, nor it works that way. This is why I've used all of those people that I used before and what I talked about before to prove a point why it does not work that way. That is why I encourage you to watch this video to prove a point. It does not matter how many times you try to be a pick me for these people, they're not going to accept you. They just use you as a tool to push their own bias and bigotry onto your own people. So when you're throwing your own people underneath the bus, yeah, no, you're not helping anyone, you're actually anything. Instead, you're just causing more trouble towards other people that's going to affect you in the future. Seriously, they're going to backstab you immediately the moment you either one say something that is not aligned with their politics, whatever. It's the same with Melanie Mack. Like she's a great on social, but of course, she said one little thing, and she got her like not harassed, she got legit attacked by her own people, and you assume they would defend her or make an excuse. No, they're attacking her because she said outbound for crying out loud, and that's it. So it's not about the fact of they actually accepting these people. It's oh no, you're saying something that aligns with what we want to hear. They're just using them as diversity hires. nothing else. So we out here, Mike, remember what she said just here, right? This whole of, oh, but that means that there's acceptance in the right, but that's not the case. Now remember this.
Or LGBT. There are tons of videos online saying how people got kicked out of the LGBT community and pushed away from the left or personally welcome to the conservative side.
Well, most of the times they're lying, since those people were never actually like those things. They were already on the right regardless. And of course, a lot of times those things get a lot of views, which is why there's a lot of haters like that. Of course, you have people like Misha Petrov. Well, let's be honest, she was already on the right. There's no debate about that. You have people like Brett Cooper push the idea of, oh yeah, like no, she was 100% was right leaning regardless. Like we need to stop with these ridiculous stories. Of course, with me and some of the people that I've talked to, I've talked to 100%. There's more evidence backing it up. Most of these stories online with YouTube and stuff, it's all fake. It's all an act. It's not genuine.
That doesn't mean that all conservatives are welcoming, but not all of them
Then can we stop pretending as if that there are welcoming ones when most of the times that's not the case?
are welcoming either. Even
Yes, but do you know how small that is? A lot, very, very dangerously small.
Obama was once against gay marriage.
Yet you're ignoring the fact that Obama actually changed his opinion over time, and that's not just because of vote. He changed his opinion because guess what? They grow the F up. You have the same people on the conservative side that will try to argue, oh, like transitioning kids, like that should not be a thing. You're a grown adult, then that's fine. But at the same time, too, they go online trying to complain about actual adults transitioning too. Why? Because it doesn't matter whether you're a kid or not, or you're an adult or not. Problem you existing is what they don't like. That's it. Of, oh, you're an adult, you can do whatever you want. Okay, cool. And they're out here trying to silence it or trying to like limit their freedom and stuff and nothing else. Of, oh yeah, free speech. They advocate for it, but yet they're so open to advocate to take away freedom of speech of people that don't like with their own politics. And you have Sean that constantly loves to use the whole freedom of speech as a justification for him to say something completely stupid, slander, defamation, or something completely idiotic. But yet he's open to tell people or advocate for taking away other people's freedom of speech solely because they don't have his politics. And he does this way too often, of course. That's not someone that's actually is willing to change his mind. No, that's someone showing you their true intentions. But for Obama, he's saying, yeah, I have this opinion back in the day, of course, because it was common. Over time, he changed his opinion, which is why he's Democratic and is advocated for this law to be a thing. Remember that. Remember the whole advocate argument. But yet, this is exactly what he was talking about. This is exactly what this point right here is about. Yes, the self-hate, the rejection, the bigamy, the homophobia is about. These people ain't pygmies. It's about the fact that, oh yeah, they're the gay friend. So we have people being transphobic. They're like, oh, I'm not transphobic. I subscribe to Blair White because she's a trans friend. Oh, I'm not homophobic and racist. Like I don't hate black people. I like Amir. I don't hate gay men. I like Amir. And using them as the whole of, oh, I'm a gay friend excuse. These are the people why they get criticized. These are the reasons why they get criticized. So when you have people, they should bring up the fact of how, yes, these people are pygmies, things on and so forth. It's because they are. And just like when it comes to like Greg as an example, Amala, Greg Cooper, all of these people, no, they don't actually respect them. They just use it as a justification. Greg Cooper and Amala, they just use them as an excuse to be misogynistic towards women. Amala and Greg, they only use them as an excuse to be racist towards black people. Nothing else, and that's pretty much it. There's no debate about that. That is just a fact.
Obama was once against gay marriage.
It's so funny she said that, but yet in the same video, she's literally just using her lesbian identity to be the gay friend herself. And want to know why people are criticizing her.
I don't personally consider myself conservative, but I do agree with them because we talk about a lot of similar issues. And
so yes, you're being conservative. And you want to know why people are not listening to you or taking you seriously when you're not actually listening to both sides of the topic or anything like that. Now you make an argument that a lot of people on the left don't want to listen to you. Okay, fine, that's a fair point. Problem though, if you're proving the point why it's not worth of taking you seriously or why they should listen to you, that's your own fault. With me, I'm being consistent across the board. I don't care whether you're left leaning or right leaning. And like I said, I still hold the same exact opinions and views in my Airrick Debunks video, the first one. And this is just a sequel to prove the point that I'm being consistent regardless if you're left leaning or right leaning. The difference with you, Sky, you're not being consistent. You're proving their point of what they were talking about you. Listen, was every single thing that Eric was talking about you, that's what I'm sorry. I will have to agree with him because yes, at least you're giving him the evidence of what he was talking about.
Positions. As both a gun owner and a Latina admirer, you can see where I struggle to commit to one political party, but I've always thought this is
But yet you're pandering and making excuses for one side of it. You don't criticize or hold them accountable or actually acknowledge the issues with it.
because it allows me to understand both perspectives and be especially vigilant to the way members of each political party portray.
But yet you are not actually understanding of their perspective of both sides at all. You literally use an actual Nazi as your source to depict of gay people's existence. You literally just use an actual Nazi, an actual white supremacist for crying out loud. And then we have someone like Counterpoint who's being genuine with you, at least, being fair and explaining you what the issue is. Instead of you listening to it, you're removing most of the context and just talking over it. And you want to know why, yes, people like Counterpoints and Matt whatever are criticizing people like you for what y'all just do.
Viewpoints. This is precisely why I use the sponsor of today's video, Ground News, to see
We can skip this.
this plan for just $5 a month. That's what was dealing with the 2020 election. Significant portion of this hour-long conversation has been trying to come up with reasons why LGBT never might be conservative. They raise
No, they explain you the reason because yes, it's a common pattern. And this is why I show you guys those people from before. You have black people who go out here putting other black people down. This pattern towards white supremacists who don't view them as people. You have people like Brett Cooper who be throwing all women underneath the bus, pattern towards misogynistic men when they don't view women as people. You have Common Lee who will be throwing Asian people underneath the bus because he needs to pattern towards white supremacists too. Once again, all these people exist. It is a thing. This is why I said when it comes to this video, she made a good example of why this is a common pattern. It does happen. But Sky, everything is not a thing when it is.
possibilities. Maybe they're a good thing. Maybe they're a pick me. Maybe they hate themselves.
Because a lot of the times, these are the cases. Once again, go have people like Amir, they'll go make a whole video try to justify actual and stuff like racism and try to argue how it's not a thing. Once again, with Greg, as an example from earlier, he denied actual racism as well by pointing it out. Shows the fact that no, he knows what's going on, but he supports that nonsense. When it comes to Amala, trying to put this idea of how it's okay to take away representation from minorities, but it's only bad of a race swap or casting minorities existing. So having a minority just exists in the product or media, but we need to dismantle it because it's forced propaganda, it's an agenda. We need to dismantle it. We get not hiding the fact that she's pandering towards actual white supremacists, of course. And she wants to know why she gets called out on it. But the thing is, she said these things, and it turns out the original story of Rapunzel was not even originated by white people, it was actually originated by non-white people. Are you going to see her, making retractments, owning up that she's wrong? Of course not. Are you going to see her having a complaint about whitewashing? No. Instead, you'll hear her way more defense of whitewashing. Why? Because she knows what she's doing, and this is what we're talking about.
They keep looking for psychological reasons, but it never occurs to them that maybe it's because their own community has turned on them for having disagreements. Maybe
No, that's not the case. The main reason is because those are the reasons. If you make a pick me, a grifter, so of course, they're not going to like you for that reason, because their whole shit is to put them down. Seriously, why on earth would the LGBT community be accepted towards people like Amir when his whole shit is like, yes, he's a gay dude who don't like gay people? Make it make any sense. That's why you'd be so surprised Amir is getting hated by black people. And it's like, yeah, he's a black dude that doesn't like being black, who doesn't like black people too. Of course, the black community would not like him at all. That makes sense. Like, this dude actively goes out of his way to put all black people down to push for white supremacy. Of course, they're not going to like him. That's exactly a valid reason. Like, What are you talking about?
Because even mentioning that trans women being in women's sports might not be a good idea will get you immediately labeled as transphobic. Maybe
No, the problem though is too, it's about why you bring it up. Are you actually bringing it up because of the safety of women? No. And a lot of times with me, yes, I do. The problem with Eris Garcella, no, of course. A lot of times over time, she's not bringing it up because of actually protecting women's safety. It's of, oh yeah, pander towards people that don't view them as people. And this is why you have, like, as an example, you have people on the right who are anti-feminist, right? They're constantly trash about feminism and women's rights, willing to take away women's rights, but somehow, out of nowhere, like, no, not just that. Even when it comes to a man sexually assaulting a woman, these people would silence the actual woman, telling them to shut up about it and how, oh, they should not be taken seriously, we should not fact check it or anything like that, or make an excuse for their behavior. Oh no, if the person is on a certain agenda that they want to push, oh, now the man is dressing up like a woman, so oh, they need to use as an excuse to be transphobic. Now they want to be pretend that they're pro-woman. Like, look at the amount of people, like, let's say, Candace Owens or Brett Cooper, who are anti-feminist, which are anti-woman, right? Or they're misogynistic and pick-me's, right? The thing is, the only time that there be pro-woman, pro-feminism is only when it comes to discriminating by being homophobic or transphobic. That is a problem. So when you hear people calling this stuff out, yeah, it's not out of good faith. Like, these people do not give an F about women's sports in any sense of the form. They don't give an F. These are the same people talk about how, oh, well, women's sports are not entertaining. No one wants to watch them. They're boring. They're trash. Women's sports are not good fighters. They're not good athletes. No, they're not good basketball players. They're not good baseball players or anything like that. Why? Because this is how they actually view women, of course. Nothing else. This is exactly how they view them. So once again, when it comes to a trans person involved with it or some part of the LGBT community, they see that as an opportunity to not only bash on women, but they see that as an opportunity to just be another type of form of bigotry and nothing else. Why? Because they don't care about what's going on. They just want an excuse to hate.
maybe it's because any condemning public indecency, pride race, we call it homophobe. Eventually,
No, because a lot of times you have idiots like this person who's a flat out Nazi using this as an excuse to be those things. That is why. Once again, you can call these things out fine. I'm sorry, if you're getting your sources from an actual person who's actively is looking for these type of things to push to the media, I'm sorry, yes, you deserve to get called for being a right-wing homophobe. Seriously, I mean, I can call this behavior out how it is. I'm not using it to push a political agenda towards people. I'm calling it out because yes, it's wrong. The problem though, this idiot here is not doing so. He's doing the complete opposite. He doesn't actually care about this. That's why I said when it comes to like Chris Tyson as a great example and Dr. Disrespect, they did not give an F of what Dr. Disrespect did. But again, only crying about Chris Tyson did it because they're part of the LGBT community and nothing else. It's not of good faith. This is the argument that people are talking about.
people are going to start drifting from a political party that makes no effort to acknowledge any alternative perspectives. People
No, the problem though is once again, most of you guys were already on that side, or two, you guys are pandering to those type of people.
condemn LGBT members are leaving the left, but they didn't leave or be shoved out labels right wing and then called traitor.
Actually, it's neither for crying out loud. You have those people that will shove whoever, but here's the thing. If you chose to go out of your way to go with the people actively or discriminating towards you, I'm sorry, that has nothing to do with people on the left shoving you guys out. No, you actually went out of your way to do that yourself. Seriously. Like, do I think that like shoving people of some sort is a legit thing? 100%. How you're talking about this is a misinterpretation on how it actually works or what actually does go on. And because Elon Musk, that's a great example. That was a great example. So he goes way too far with it. Then it has nothing to do with him being shoved. No, he knows what he was doing, of course, and that's his own fault. Now, when it comes to certain other people, like let's say Amir, let's be honest, he was nowhere close to be on the left. You know what? Not just that. As an example, like you got some people even question it if she was even left leaning, which is a valid question, especially of how she talks about things. Whatever is 100% a valid question because yes, it should be challenged and called out on. Seriously.
A lot of us actually have a very moderate position, but unfortunately,
But yet, you guys are pandering towards a bunch of right-wingers and don't say anything or criticize them at all. You're giving it the same treatment. It says left-leaning bad, and I say, with me, I don't give an F what you are. But it thinks I'm actually being consistent. Right-wing sucks, but left-wing suck. I'm being consistent with Sky. You try to push this idea that both sides suck, but you're making more excuses for one of them instead of acknowledging that both of them are equally in the wrong. And this is why I said that this video is just terrible.
politics have been weaponized to such a degree that people will invalidate somebody's perspective by labeling them as their opposite political party.
Consider queer influencer, here's Blair White, here's Ariel Scarcella.
I'm gonna skip this, guys. I'm gonna skip that. I don't care. I'm not gonna be editing that much. I'm just gonna get this out of the way, of course. Why? I can't skip it. Come on. Oh, come on. You're freaking kidding me? So I can't even skip it? Like, come on. There we go. No, it's about why you don't find it attractive. Like, are there insane people like that? Yes. But mostly it's about why you don't find it attractive, which is the bloody issue. The things with me, I don't care. I just don't care. But I do know some of my friends who are not attractive or even interested in dating a trans woman. Okay, cool. The things too, the difference is that they were respectful about that, and that's it. They were respectful. They're not, oh yeah, because it's a guy, it's just, oh, it's not my thing, you know, like, so on and so forth. Like, trans right, I'm okay with it, but I just don't feel like dating them, like, it's not my thing. Okay, so be it. Awesome, we cool. We do not need, like, no, that's fine. 100% fine. Like, what would we get called transphobic? But yeah, the more I realize that I'm willing to date a trans woman or anything like that, so now I'm also getting called woke, making it make any sense. Like, even from this one idiot who DM'd me because he was just because I said one thing that he thought aligns with his politics, he legit thought I was on his side, and made me bring up, like, Claire White to argue, oh, do you think he's attractive? Is it she? Of course. Excuse me, I don't care. The thing is, like, yeah, I find attractive, I don't see an issue. And of course, he's trying to use the whole, oh, well, I'm not being homophobic, I got a lesbian cousin. It's like, homie, she's transgender. What the frick does that have to do with like lesbians? Nothing. It has nothing to do with it. The moment I heard him say some dumb stuff like that, it was already over. He was telling me he's true attention. It's just making an excuse to be bigoted. And it wasn't funny. Like pointing out, I was saying, no, it's just her being a woman, like legit trans woman. It's like, oh, there's not infinite genders. Yeah, I know. Legit. I'm telling him exactly a centrist point of view on how it works. Not left leaning, not right leaning either. A centrist, moderate point of view. And yet this guy is losing his mind because I'm not saying exactly what he wants to say. And when I'm proving him that I'm not left leaning either, he's also mad because he knows full well he can't call me leftist, but he's still trying to push his argument down woke with no actual evidence against me. So what he does, he just continues to just prove a point. He just being stupid, of course. It's not about actually is being interested of listening to the other side. It's only when it says something that aligns with the politics that you have. Okay, cool. That's awesome. That's fine. No one's arguing against that. Okay, cool. That's fine. There should be no like nothing to argue against that. No, you can say that way because that will still be accurate and fine. And that's it. No, here's another thing too. Is like I think so. She didn't make a video about why, but I think too. Like I'm not going to say anything about her personal life. So let's just say it's true. When it comes to penetration, like strap-ons or other sex objects and stuff, of course she might not like penetration. Okay, cool. That's fine. So just say that then. But when it comes to the whole of like oh, well, I just want like a natural born female, whatever. It's like okay, cool. First, he's talking about the penetration argument, like you don't like, okay, cool, fine. No one has an issue with that. That should not be argument, like argue, right? Fine. So leave it alone. But when we start arguing about even if they got the surgery, you still would not be interested. It's like, okay, so what's the point? Like, what's the point? You might as well just say you are transphobic in at that moment. Like you're not even doing a good job And mind you, if you're respectful, then so be it. But at the same time, you have to acknowledge you are contradicting yourself at the exact moment. Like, because the thing is, you can just say, hey, you just like a biological woman, and that's it, and get out of the way. That's it. When you go out of this way to look for any excuse in a book, I'm sorry, you're giving people a reason on why they can't take you seriously. Like I said, with my friend, you just say, hey, he's not interested, and that's it. He's like a biological female, and for how it is, and that's it. Okay, cool. Move on. End of the day. And you go out your way to just say, oh yeah, I like penetration. Okay, cool, fine. So we can leave alone. And it goes to the whole, well, a trans woman, getting the surgery. It's like, oh, I will still not be attracted towards it. It's like, but you don't have a penis. I know. But once again, they don't have anything to penetrate you. I know. So what's the point? Just say no. Just like you can say the most basic, blatant, and normal thing, and just say it in a respectful manner. But no, you're going out your way looking for excuses instead of just say exactly what you want to say. That is an issue why a lot of people don't take it serious. Of course, because the same thing too. It's like you got some men that like to get what is 100% of them being gay. No, and most of them are still in a straight relationship and they have no sexual attraction, desire for actual men at all, and that's normal. It's the same thing for lesbians as an example. They do like the strap, all right? No gun, no kill themselves. But they do like that stuff, right? Here's the thing, they like it, it's all like, so what? But they start thinking about men, no. They still have no attraction towards men either. And the same thing works. Right? What you arguing is a certain preference that you do have. That's fine. That's okay. When we start applying this to the whole gender stuff, whatever, okay, you do sound ridiculous.
It's like genital preference instead of sexuality.
Because yes, that is legit thing, and that's why I make that exact example. It's not really the homophobic thing ever. Once you don't like the penetration, there's other lesbians that do. And you think, are they out here thinking about men? No, of course not. Hey, you got some of them. Guess what? They have a trans girlfriend in the front too. They're not getting penetrated, and that's their own personal life. So be it. Does that make them they're straight now? No, of course not. You have some of them that don't mind it, and that's when they have a biological woman using a strap. But here's the thing: does that make them straight? Still no. So yes, it's more of a preference, of course, and that's fine. That's not really homophobic at all. Seriously. No, it still would be a preference regardless. Yes, there is. Once again, you can still have a preference for an orientation. So you're only said it to be, say something inflammatory for attention. And if you want to know why, yes, you guys are getting called out for being grifters. Because you're doing this for the attention, not because you actually believe in this stuff or whatever.
It's literally true. What's the lesbian is not liking weird.
Not actually accurate. Yes, but at the same time too, you also misuse the term narcissistic for crying out loud multiple times, mind you. You also misuse the term a lot more times over time to the point where you yourself cannot even define it. You saw how the left is misuse words, which I do agree, but the right is not doing anything better. Heck, nowadays they're even doing way worse than the left is doing. What's the difference? We can't explain it. But yes, you're out here being conservative. You stated and argued multiple times you are being conservative. You have been nonstop dick writing a bunch of conservatives. You are such much of a lesbian for conservatives. You're dick writing them. Make it make any sense.
You don't agree 100% ideologies are called homo Republican.
No, because a lot of times those are the reasons of why you're disagreeing with them and nothing else. You literally have her flat out admit it. She did on purpose because she was looking for the attention. So yes, that is why. Yes, PR will call her out for that. Nothing else. Because Amir, he knows what he's doing, which is why he does that on purpose too. That is the point.
You understand what they're doing without reference to their the reason.
Yes, and that's another point. Yeah, I feel like Amir, as an example, he would use, I'm as a gay man, and then legit trying to push actual homophobia towards his own audience, of course. Trying to justify legit homophobia towards gay men for their existence. Legit, it could be like a lesbian couple or a gay couple just existing, just reading or whatever in a park, right? And they get sold. And you have Amir using his own identity, being a gay dude, and trying to argue, as a gay guy, and trying to find any justifications on why how it was being okay. No, that is exactly what Counterpoints was talking about. And you have people like Blair White that would do the same thing of using her trans identity as a justification for actual transphobia that exists and nothing else. Or we have people like Brett Cooper that does the same thing of putting other women down and trying to use you're being sexist, and a woman, whatever. It's the same thing with like some people calling Candace Owens out how she would denounce her blackness, but only bring her blackness up when it's convenient and nothing else. Not because she actually is proud for being a black woman, but she isn't. She only brings up the moment when it's convenient towards her for a grift and nothing else. She'd be out here making noise, say she does not like being black, she does not like black people, but if she can grip off of it, then yes, she will use it to the end of time and nothing else. It's a constant thing that a lot of these people are guilty for doing way many more times. And refer to this is why this woman is a great example of why this is a common thing. And Counterpoints is bringing that same argument up again.
These things, even really tied up with their goodness, right? So no, it doesn't mean, oh, you're not gay if you're a Republican. It just means that you're a self-annihilating gay person.
Yes, and that's completely is accurate. Like I said, when it comes to like let's say Amala as an example, yes, he's going to use her own blackness to invalidate black people as a whole, of course, depending towards people that don't view her nor other black people as people. And she knows this, which is why she's doing this on purpose multiple times. You have people like Airrick Debunks, who is making excuses to advocate for actual racism being okay and called for. Yeah, no, that's not someone who's trying to help black people and actually cares about them. That's someone who is a pygmy, who's an Uncle Ruckus, who's a Sambo. This way he gets called out a lot and for a rightful reason.
Actually, completely opposite. I feel like LGBT people who are conservative have completely decentralized their sexuality as the core of their relationship.
But yeah, you have people like Amir that use his identity as a gay black guy to justify racism and homophobia. You have people like Eris Garcia that use her lesbian identity to justify other forms of bigotry. You have Claire White that use her trans identity to justify transphobia. You have Brett Cooper that use her gender. Mind you, she would all the women under the bus for misogynistic men. But yet, when someone criticizing her, she would use her identity as a woman to argue, oh no, you can't criticize me, I'm a woman. When no, you're getting called out for something, you say something stupid, of course. Equal rights, equal wrongs. Oh no, if it's the other way around, she does not like it for some reason. It's not advocating for that because it has applied to her too. And they know what they're doing. It's the same thing like with Amala, for crying out loud. Once again, as a great example, yes, she'll be using her black identity when it's convenient, unless it's like so on the left criticizing her, if you go use, oh, I'm a black woman, you should be listening to me, you're not questioning me. But yet, when it comes to the other way around, she'd be silencing all black people as a whole to plan towards white supremacists. So no, you can't say, oh yeah, they decentralized the identity when they're using their own identity for pushing their own bigotry.
I think a lot of gay conservatives chose the right for reasons outside of their sexuality. Maybe they agree more with economic policies, or maybe because they want to government involvement. There are reasons.
So once again, then they should not be out here being conservative in any shape or form. They should not be Republican. But yet, these people do, and that's the problem. This is the point. Notice when it comes to economic or less like government control, that's fine. Notice disagree with that. Problem though is when you go out your way, and remind you, when you go out your way actually using a Nazi as your source, and they're trying to pander towards people like him. And we out here legit following people who are blatantly telling you that yes, they don't see you as a human being. They discriminate against you. I'm sorry, that has nothing to do with like less government control. That's the complete opposite. This is what they're talking about. Once again, with Greg Owens, there's parts he's literally proving that yes, it was racism, but he's denying it because he's trying to advocate for that form of bigotry and discrimination towards his own people. And he's doing that on purpose. When it goes to Amala, she's doing the same thing too, of taking away rights and as well of taking representation from minorities as well, her own women and black women. And she knows that too. But yet, when it's the other way around, no, she wants more of it for some reason. When it's pushing it for white people, she wants that. But when it comes to taking away from Asian, black, Latinas, whatever, no, she wants that taken away for some reason. Like she talked about, we need to dismantle diversity for some reason and inclusion. But yeah, oh no, white supremacy, no, that's something that she needs to put to the media. So once again, that is what they're talking about. That's not anything to do with like less government control. No, it's just about bigotry. This is what people are talking about when you guys are being pygmies, grifters, so on and so forth. Because Japan reports bigotry. That is it. It's like no different when it comes to like a Jewish person is going out of the way, is just making excuses for actual Nazis committing the Holocaust onto their own people. And trying to argue, oh, this is not a bad thing. Like there's nothing wrong with it. Like you see how stupid they sound? Or when it comes to like a black slave in in that time and trying to make justification for the slavery that black people are going through, like the Ku Klux Klans, right? The KKK, right? Yeah, that's the problem that people are talking about.
Conservative have completely decentralized their sexuality as a core religious system. I think a lot of gay conservatives chose the right for reasons outside their sexuality. Maybe they agree more with the economic policies, or maybe because they want to involvement. There are reasons outside of gay rights that some would choose to be Republican. Just like
But at the same time, they don't call out the bigotry that's coming from that political side at all. Once you got Amir defending it, you got Airrick Debunks says nothing about the stuff. You got Blair White having no issues with it, will make excuse or justification for that type of behavior. This is the argument that people are talking about.
personally, no Democrats who own guns and support gun rights. There are gay people.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That does not mean they're becoming Republican, and that's the point. You want less government control? Okay, cool. That has nothing to do with right wing at all. It really doesn't. Problem though is you go out your way, as an example, for someone who's actively trying to take away your own rights or don't see you as a human being. That is the point that people are talking about. Really, what if for someone like, let's say, Nick Fuentes, as an example, who's a straight up white supremacist and a racist and stuff, right? Who is anti-black. What the frick? I, as a black man, be defending him or agreeing with him or even voting for him, knowing the type of person he is. That is my point. I agree with, oh yeah, less government control. Okay, cool. I can agree with that. I'm not going to defend him or support him or even vote for him because, yeah, no, it's just not worth it. I can find someone else who has the same exact point of view about less government control, but who's not a racist. There's countless of candidates, and you can have that view without going that far to selling your own soul to the freaking devils. That's the point.
Who support your Republican Party. Someone's sexuality doesn't have to be the sole dictator of how the country should be run. It doesn't mean
That's not the argument, nor that's the point.
that they are self-hating or self-annihilating.
No, a lot of times it is because of those exact reasons. But the problem, though, this is what we're talking about. So we making these excuses, being in denial of this. Then no, you're proving people's point that yes, you're being a self-hating person.
Just don't make their sexuality the very center of their beliefs. So
But yeah, you're using your lesbian identity to be self-hating for these beliefs. So once again, you're proving their point. You're proving counterpoints. That's what Matt's point of what they're talking about.
the credit where it's due. The traditional beliefs each political party has shifted a lot. This idea that
Not actually
the
accurate.
entirety of the Republican Party is against gay marriage is just
Because there are.
no longer true. Trump casually walked around
False.
carrying a rainbow flag.
Once again, this is the same thing. This is the same thing when she was doing the whole of, oh, I got a gay friend card on Obama. Like, some Obama, who actually at least did something for gay people and stuff. Some of that's bad, or oh, he got a gay friend excuse. I got a gay friend. Some that's fine. Some that's why we can make fun of. But trying to argue that Trump having this one flag is oh, see, this is proof that the right supports gay people. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Okay, you have Obama. At least give an example, right? I do.
I have a gay friend. I have a gay friend. Obama was once against gay marriage.
Right, she said that stuff. She talked about that, but then she bring up how of Trump is proof that people on the right are not against gay people. People on the right are more accepted towards gay people. I mean, that's not how it works, nor that's even accurate. Because that Obama has done way more for gay people than Trump has ever done, and that's the difference.
Obama was once against gay marriage. I have a gay friend.
Once again, and she's out here being the whole of oh, I have a lesbian friend. She's literally doing the whole I have a lesbian friend card herself.
Obama was once against gay marriage. I have a gay friend.
Once again, she said that nonsense, and this is her argument. This.
It's just no longer true. Casually walks around carrying the entirety of the Republican Party is against gay marriage. It's just no longer true. Casually walks around carrying a rainbow flag and has made no effort to attract gay marriage.
So once again, just because he carried this, it's no longer true that they're not hating on gay people or homophobic anymore for some reason. That's literally just saying, oh hey, just because Trump had one black friend that just says everything that he wants to say, just being a house slave. So that's proof that he's not advocating for slavery to come back. That's not proof of being racist towards black people. This is my point of why I've been talking about multiple times when it comes to Amir is also as an example of what's going on. With that comment that she gets before advocating that yes, we should bring slavery back and stuff. That person would make this excuse of how Amir, he likes Amir or he likes Amal Ebanobi or he likes Greg the black conservative perspective and stuff or likes Leon or likes Gothics. That does not mean he's racist. When it's like no, you just argue that yes, black people should be slaves again. Yes, you are 100% racist. When we have that one idiot that this woman was used as a source, literally showing proof that yes, he is being racist towards black people. Who also make this excuse of oh, I'm friends with Officer Granite Tantrum, so that means I'm not racist towards black people. When yes, it is. You're still racist towards black people. Especially with Officer Tantrum, who's anti-black himself. Yeah, no, that does not mean you're not anti-black yourself either. Like that's not a good argument. You're literally doing the whole oh, I have a gay friend, I have a black friend excuse. But it's so funny how with this situation, she's making that excuse for with the right doing so. But when who actually at least they put effort into helping gay people, she's mocking him. And then she wants to know why people are calling her out for being a pygmy, a grifter, or self-hating when she's acting this way. This is why I said when she out here pushing this fake noise approach, she's not having her own argument. She's proving everyone else's point was correct about her. This is why she will be getting a lot of criticism.
People said that every candidate has different values and goals. There are Republicans who hold some traditionally Democratic policies and vice versa.
And give actual examples of that.
The idea that gay acceptance is something that can never exist on the right. So one of these.
Because oh my gosh, I've already talked about this.
Gay people something to be kept by the left.
Because once again, you got people on the left are the only ones that are advocating for the acceptance, where people on the right are the ones blatantly arguing against it. Once again, you literally use an actual Nazi, an actual white supremacist as a source. You're literally using this guy as your source, who's actively is against treating gay people and trans people as people. You're using this guy as a source. He's not accepting gay people, he's not accepting trans people, he's against them. Where you got more people on the left, that's what they're more accepting, even the homophobic ones for crying out loud. You know how embarrassing that is? So when it comes to Airrick Debunks' video about you, you're just proving every single point. Mind you, before this video existed, yes, he had no arguments. But now, ever since this video exists, I'm sorry, he can use all the same claims from before against you to prove a point. This is a problem why I hate. So when it comes down to it, I'm just so annoyed when people pretend to be fake nuance or being like in the center. In reality, they aren't. I'm so annoyed and it takes me off. Oh my gosh, alright, I'm done with the rant. I don't care. How do you? Like, seriously, it's just so straight up embarrassing that this is how we're going to act nowadays. Oh well.